Everybody, welcome back to another day, another episode of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about Mario. The second Mario movie, Mario Galaxies, is out. People are starting to talk about it. Reviewers absolutely hate it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to go over a non-spoiler review from, I believe it's VGC. So we'll talk about that, and then we're going to bring up Rotten Tomato, and we're going to talk a little bit about the movie industry itself in general. We're going to talk about and watch Legendary Drop's video talking about gaming is now for the rich. And we're going to give you my reactions to that. And we're also going to watch TheKingerd. He's got a video called Live Service Propaganda versus Steam Charts. If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. I'm trying to stay away from news stories today because a lot of people are posting stuff. And because it's April Fool's Day, a lot of the articles are bullshit. So we try to stay away from that. So that's why we're talking about a movie review today. This is why we're going to react to other people's videos today. Because just a lot of news that comes out. Funny, some are not so funny, and then you don't know what's real or what's fake. And I don't like to put bullshit stuff out there that people take for real. So we're just gonna hold off for the news, just like we do every single year. What's going on, chat? Let me see who's all here. Good morning, Altern. What's going on? Yellow Stick Forever. Sarge, good morning. Big Mo, good morning. Aku, Jesse Mack, Kylo Green. Just enough. What's going on? Heroic. All right. So let's start off. We have a tweet that I believe Krebsy put in yesterday, right? The tweet yesterday where some of the news outlets, right? Some of the news outlets, when you look at this, all right, this is for the Super Mario Galaxy movie reviews, okay? Super Mario movie Galaxy reviews. We've got a 7.5 from Seattle Times. We got a 7 by Collider. We got a 7 by Looper. We got a 6 by IGN. We got a 6 by Timeout. We got 6 total film. We got 5 playlist, a 5 by Screen Rant, a 5 by Boston Globe, a 4 by Independent, a 4 by New York Times. We got a 3 by Screen Daily. We got a 2.5 by The Wrap. We got a 2 by Variety. We got a 2 by The Guardian. And we got a 0. A 0 by the Times. Now, here's the thing, right? Metacritic's at a 35. Rotten Tomato, I believe right now, is at a 44%. Okay, a 44%. So you look at this, and you're like, this movie is trash. But if you go to the last movie, critics gave it a 59. But the audience gave it a 95, and it went on to break over $1 billion. Okay, this movie is going to break over $1 billion. There's no doubt about it. And people are just losing their minds, right? So a 0. How do you give a movie a 0? They also gave Minecraft movie a 0, and I saw Minecraft, and I didn't like it, but I mean it was bad. But a 0, a 0. Like, you get a 1 for showing up. You know what I mean? Like, you made a movie, you get a 1. Right? So, people were really upset. I watched the first Mario movie. It was good. I didn't think it was great, but it was good. My son loved it. And you know what? That's what matters. Because, yes, I'm 48. We're going to be 48 this year. Okay? And it's not meant for me. You can enjoy it, but people are like looking into something like there's some rich lore with like Mario, right? There's like some rich lore. The lore is what the video games are. And if you want that lore, then you play the video games. Go save Princess. They do so much in the first Mario film when we watched it. There was so many Easter eggs and shout outs and different things. And people are like, oh, look at that. I remember that. And that's this. That is what these movies are about. Nintendo knows their fan base, man. If that's one thing you can say is Nintendo knows their fan base. The park, I haven't been there yet, but the people that go to Universal, the new Epic Adventure, when they walk into Nintendo Land, they're blown away because of the attention to detail and the people that love Mario, right? So let's get into this, right? So we got a 44% as of right now. Some of the people are saying vivid worlds, memorable characters, silly laughs. The Super Mario Galaxy movie is not deep, but it's made with love and it hits the spot, right? And I think that is what they're going for. Now, this person says, for the piece of intellectual property exploitation, it's created with far more craft and care than it had to be. Meaning they know who they're marketing to, right? So here's one person. This is Jeremy Prime. Jeremy Prime is the head of Geeks and Gamers, okay? He says, and he's a huge Nintendo guy, huge Nintendo fan, okay? He says, it was much fun, 100% for the fans, just like the first movie was, but I like this one more. I gave the first film a 7 out of 10. Fox was the show stealer. It moves to a pretty fast pace, but damn, I was smiling the entire time. Mario's got multiple heroic moments. I do have a few issues, but overall, it's a win, 8 out of 10. He says, if you're looking for intricate plot, okay, deep character development, don't go see this movie, right? It almost sounds like Crimson Desert. If you're looking for, Crimson, I know. For some reason, either Nintendo or YouTube doesn't want to put the thumbnail that I created today because it has Mario in the picture. But whatever, right? It says, if you're looking for a plot or deep character development, don't go see this movie. Just like Crimson Desert. If you're looking for story, don't play the game because there's not that deep story that you want from like a Witcher or whatever. There's no deep story here for this, right? The movie is for the people that are fans of Mario and Nintendo. The filmmakers clearly don't give a fuck about you, and if you don't give a fuck about the source material, as it should be, right? Make a movie, sell a movie, make a game, sell a game, right? So there's that. So we're going to go into the spoiler-free, at least that's what VGC says, okay? Super Mario Galaxy movie knows exactly what it is. All right, real quick, let me show you what the thumbnail is in my, right? Don't know why it's happening, but I'm going to show you what my thumbnail is supposed to be. Right? So here's Twitter, right? That's the thumbnail from yesterday. It doesn't want to show this thumbnail. And all I put was April Fools believe nothing. And it has Mario on it. So they decided that they don't want to show that on YouTube for whatever reason. So that's the thumbnail that was posted and that is supposed to be on the channel. But for some reason, they still want to keep this one. Don't understand. All right. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button.
Saw it last night at midnight for a Special Olympics event and I loved it out it and the whole Star Fox section with the music was simply amazing.
Craig, thank you very much for the $10. Thank you very much for the $10 super chat. It says, saw last night at midnight for a Special Olympics, even though the love of it, the whole Star Fox section with the music was simply amazing. There you go. There you go. Person saw it. He liked it. All right. So let's talk. The Super Mario Galaxy movie knows exactly what it is. Big, silly, and fun. The sequel is unlikely to win over the naysayers, but Nintendo's diehards and families are in for a stellar time. The Super Mario Galaxy, first of all, I can't believe it's been 3 years since that movie came out. Like, what the hell happened? Like, did the particle collider hit and we just like lost 3 years of our life and all of a sudden we just fast forward? Like, what is happening? Like 3 years. I feel like we were just talking about Chris Pratt getting the role of Mario and then the movie coming out. And here we are. Mario Galaxy 2 is out. So the movie is Original Power by Superstar. It's a 100-minute time sugar rush that starts at 90 miles an hour and barely stops to breathe. The Nintendo illuminated sequel is sparkling spectacular, delivers an unapologetic, silly, and flashy adaptation of the video game namesake, with an enjoyable character performance and plenty of nods to Nintendo filmic future thrown in. Not everyone will be pleased with this approach. Largely, the same issue from the first movie remain. Notable and rapid pacing, holding together pretty threadbare plot. Though thankfully no jarring pop music this time. But this is unlikely to bother Nintendo diehards and families who go expecting fun popcorn films. Okay, the sequel starts with a bang, namely a bullet bill plummeting the entrance of Rosalina by Brie Larson. observatory spaceship and is also ambushed by fellow Deputy Bowser Jr. Okay, and the controls hulky mega Is he going to go into? He says there's no spoilers, but he's talking about a lot of stuff that maybe a lot of people don't know. Galaxy's runtime contains some heartfelt moments and meaningful implications of the Super Mario lore. However, like the first movie, the Super Mario movie video games plot line, unsurprisingly, not the focus here. It's almost admirable that despite the brothers' critic reviews, Illumination has stayed resolute to who the film are for and essentially doubled down on the formula. It got a 95 from the people last time. It made $1 billion, over $1 billion last time. The filmmakers expect the most of those sat in the cinema. The characters aren't bothered about the lumens are as wide as they can also spawn star-shaped booster rings. Instead, Illumination embraced the dazzling audio-visual spectacular of the Galaxy series, plus other more recent games in the series with minimal exposition getting in the way. And the glorious movie it looked, combined with Brian Tyler's wonderful soundtrack, again, hits all the classics. Okay, Galaxy is a Nintendo fan's dream. Every frame blazing, exuberant color, and layered with reverence of Plummer's rich gaming history. Okay, the movie's brisk 100-minute span of the Mushroom Kingdom of the Galaxy worlds of stars, underground labyrinth, and even drop in the environments, an odyssey of 3D world games. It's helpful that these scenes are populated by likable cast who deliver enjoyable performances across the board. Still can't quite believe Illumination was able to cast Donald Glover as Yoshi, but the character's physical humor improves every scene he's in. Similar, Powell's Fox is also much fun, and you won't care that he's very clearly been interested in the cynical setup of the future spin-off. That's cool. If they're going to do spin-offs, look, I'm excited for the Nintendo movies and shows. I used to love the old Mario cartoon back in the day. So, free of Origins exposition, Pratt's Mario is far less irritable and also sometimes be in the original Jack Black's Bowser, though, not quite reaching the comedic heights of Peach's, is surprisingly layered character torn between the appearance, unlikely relationship formed his brothers. It's just a shame, again, that the moments aren't quite even given time to breathe because the rare moments when the Galaxy does slow down, it reminds you why they actually, despite the movies, cater to families and kids, and to the fair critic, them not trying to develop for the characters more. So it seems like most people are going to really, really like this movie, right? We're going to go see it. I don't know if we're going to go see it this weekend. I think we're seeing it next weekend because I got to bring my nephew, and I don't think he's available this weekend. But then there's people like Grace Randolph. I don't know if you guys know Grace Randolph. Okay. Geeks and Gamers here wrote an article about Grace Randolph loses it over Mario Galaxy's movie, claims Bowser represents the toxic manosphere. Now, I want to see the clip myself. Let's watch this.
I continue to feel that Bowser and now Bowser Jr. are a little bit too actually evil. Like,
the bad guys are too bad guy. Okay.
it goes beyond cartoon villainy. I think maybe because they kind of mimic like the toxic manosphere.
Do you think she's played Mario in any way, shape, or form? And do you think she's a gamer? And what is wrong with you? It's just a cartoon movie. I don't think they're trying to. I don't think they're trying to do anything besides just be bad guys in a film.
It's like, I don't know if it's becoming more and more popular, if it's maybe finally reached its breaking point, but you know, I see a lot of similar talking points there. And the movie at first seemed like it was going to be a journey of redemption in that regard, but I was surprised that they decided to not do that, right? I was like, what are you therefore trying to say?
This is what happens when the story of Peter Pan. You ever watch Hook with Robert Williams? Great film. Okay. It's when you grow up, you become jaded, bitter, mad, upset, right? And we all have our moments. But she's choosing for Bowser. Bowser's too bad.
Like, they're certainly not the first cartoon villains to kidnap a damsel in distress, but for some reason, it feels a lot worse here. And then, well, of course, it was very touching to see Bowser and his son bonding. How can you cheer that on when they're bonding over like genuinely evil activities?
Because it's a movie, it's a cartoon, and they're not fucking real.
I guess, like, I think the difference is that in other fantasy stories, villains are villains, and usually pretty inept ones. Like, you're always, you know, they're going to be defeated in the end. But Bowser and co., they're more effective than your typical cartoon villain, and the audience is asked to sympathize with them, laugh with them, and relate to them, right? It's like if in Silence of the Lambs, they were like, you know,
No. You do not compare Bowser to Silence of the Lambs. What are we talking about?
Buffalo Bill's actually a pretty cool guy to have a drink with. And you were like, yeah, but we can't get over the but, you know? I mean, I think, all right, so then with the princesses, I do think the Mario and Peach relationship is handled a little bit better here than in the first movie. Although it's still moving along as slow as molasses. You know, I think in fact.
Has she played a Mario game? Has she played a Mario game? Like, when she says slow relationship, how many times has Mario saved Princess? It's so fucking stupid.
I would define it more as a situationship than a relationship. But I think what really bothered me about not only Peach but Rosalina is that they're viewed as the moms of their respective kingdoms.
Just stop. Just watch the movie, man. I haven't seen the movie, but just review the movie. Not your perspective on life and how you're a miserable bitch.
And so I don't like the inequity in that, because kings and princes aren't referred to as dads, right? And they don't refer consistently to their subjects as their children. Right? So I don't understand why that's the situation for the princesses. It just didn't sit right with me. But I did like that actual family was a big kind of theme in this movie. They didn't develop it properly because, again, they had too many characters and too many fractured.
I'm sure Marvel will be fine with too many characters, right?
Storylines. But, when the first movie came out, I saw a number of people talking about how their history with Super Mario was a family affair, right? That they played it with their parents and then they went on to play it with their kids. And a lot of families had gone to see the first movie. So again, while the family stuff isn't particularly well developed,
the most she's played Mario is by buying this outfit that she's put on.
There are some genuinely touching moments that I think could go over very well with families or, anyone seeing the movie who has family memories with this brand. Super Mario Galaxy certainly has an all-star cast.
Okay, I'm done listening to her. But what the hell are we talking about, right? What are we talking about as far as rooting for the bad guys? It's a cartoon. Yosemite Sam used to shoot guns at Bugs Bunny. And you know what? People liked him. Like, what are we talking about? We've grown up and people are they forgot their inner child. They forgot their inner child. Right? We talk about business and stuff on here. We talk about corporations taking things and trying to get money from you and stuff like that. How they don't give a shit about you. That's completely different than when you're talking about something that's just supposed to be a fun. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be. We forget it. It's supposed to be a piece of entertainment, right? It's supposed to be a piece of entertainment. They're not trying to renovate the wheel here. They're just telling you a story about Mario. The first movie was fun. Was it Oscar award winning? Was it sitting in the room with a bunch of Oscar winners and they're like, oh, praise me. No, they don't give a shit. Movies are supposed to be entertaining. It's supposed to give you 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours to get away from your miserable lives, to get away from the moment that you're just like, I just need a time to get a break. Jack says she thinks Bowser runs a GoFundMe. Thank you very much for the $1.99. Why didn't that go off? Let me see if it reads it this time. No? Nope, doesn't want to read it. Thank you very much, though, for the $1.99. Appreciate you. Yeah, she's clueless, Aku. Like, clueless. I get your reviewer, right? Here's what he says. This is from Geeks and Gamers, and the article is written by Marvin. Okay, he talks about in the bottom of this. He says this right here, right? This is why people don't trust critics anymore. This right here is the problem. Instead of reviewing what actually is on the screen, critics like Randolph are projecting real-world politics onto something that was never built to carry the weight. Right? Like, don't get me wrong. There are movies that fundamentally talk about, like, for instance, if there's a war going on, they might throw it into a story and pretend, it's their own characters in that war, and they're making references towards the real-world war. But they don't say, like, hey, this is what it is. It's just, you're watching going, oh, I can see the parallels. I can see the stuff going on here, right? But these critics love pushing all this stuff on you. Okay, it says, we're talking about a franchise from Nintendo, a company that has spent decades doing the exact opposite of what Hollywood keeps doing. Okay, Nintendo keeps the content free of lectures, messaging, and agendas of bogged down modern Hollywood studios, and yet here comes the access media trying to turn Mario into a political think piece. Yeah, just watch it. Right? Randolph also trashed the Super Mario Brothers movie when it came out, right before audiences showed up in massive numbers and provided critical completely out of touch. It's the same cycle with the same results. Critics complain, audience ignores them, and the movie prints money anyway. Right. Make a game, make a book, make a movie, make a TV show, sell those things. Don't have an agenda. Don't try to push something. And when they don't have an agenda, these critics make it have an agenda. They make it have an agenda. Right? And based on early projections, Super Mario Galaxy, it looks like it's heading to a repeat performance. The film is estimated to bring in global box office haul of extending $350 million in its opening holiday weekend. That's huge. So yeah, it says even her own review doesn't make sense. Here we get, it's even better. It's the same review. Randolph admits that the Bowser is actually the best part of the movie. But by far, my favorite character in the movie is Bowser, she says. He's just so funny with a lot more layers of nuance. But yet she just said to you that she doesn't like him because he's a bad guy. So she feels bad. She's like, oh my God, I like the bad guy. You like it because that's the way they wrote him, right? So wait, here's an entertaining layer of the highlights of the film, but also a symbol of the toxic manosphere. Pick one, Grace. Right? Hollywood still hasn't learned. This is the same playbook we've seen over and over again. When critics don't connect with something, they don't ask why, they reframe it. Right? They insert modern narratives, overlay current political talking points, and turn escapism into commentary. And then they act shocked when the audience rolls their eyes. And they think this is the same, right? They think this is the same as what all those other content creators out there. When a movie comes out, when a show comes out, let's talk about the Star Trek one that just came out. When they're pushing things on you and they talk about the things they're pushing, they're like, we don't want these things in those shows. We just want Star Trek. We just want Star Wars. We just want Lord of the Rings. We just want these things. Keep your shit out of it. And then when it's not in it, right? Mario comes out and it's not in there. They have to insert the things in there. It makes no sense. They don't understand entertainment. They don't understand entertainment. All we want in our entertainment is to be entertained. Entertained. If you fucking John Wick, perfect movie. John Wick is a revenge film. Not because of a dog, because what the dog represented. And then he went out and just murdered everybody just to get the dog back. Right? Just it's so ridiculous to think about, but goddamn was it entertaining. And then from that movie, I went to the next movie, into the next movie, into the next movie. I just saw The Ballerina this past weekend. Great film. Entertaining, right? Was it as good as John Wick? No, but it was good. It was really good, right? These people, the IGNs, the Grace Randolphs, all of these companies, they don't know what fun is. They don't know what fun is. They don't know what all this entertainment is. They're writing for the thing, and they think they're doing some think piece or something to try to, be the next Mozart or next creative genius. It's like, shut up. Just write the thing that you're talking about. Play the game. Tell us what the game is. Watch the film. Tell us what the film is. It's so ridiculous. Sometimes a movie is just a movie. Sometimes the 4-year-old painting on a piece of paper, a stick figure, is just that. There was no emotion behind it. There was no the artist is... It was just like, I just drew that. Yeah, that's good. That's it. All right. So it's going to make $1 billion. Let's see what the first one made. Box Office Mojo. Let's see. The Mario film, the first movie in 2023 made $1.3 billion. I don't want to say how much the second one's going to make, but if it makes $350 million this weekend worldwide, I'm going to say it makes more or just about the same. I'm going to say like 1.4, between 1.1 and 1.4, which would be very successful. Very successful. But once I see it, I'll give you a more once I actually see it, I'll tell you what it's going to make, what I think it's going to make. Aku says, she's a normal woman, always goes for the bad guy, but gets mad about the bad guy when looking from the outside in. Yeah, it's just strange. Jesse Mack says, John Wick retires because of his wife. Once his wife gets him a new dog. Right. It's what the dog represented. But what happens is just total chaos and action film. And you're like, this is badass. It's just fun. Say what you want about the Fast and Furious movies. I don't like them, but goddamn are they entertaining. They're ridiculous, but they're just entertaining. Not everything has to be this masterpiece. It could just be a fun film. That's what we're missing. You know why movies were so successful in the 80s and 90s? Because they were fun. Rokill says it makes another $1 billion. Everybody who just saw the first Mario movie is going to see the second one, most likely. Yeah, or more. Because people are like, oh, I didn't see that. Look, I love movies. We talk about this all the time, Roadkill. I love movies, right? I want people to go to theaters to see something like this. Are there going to be a lot of people that don't go to the theater to see it? Sure. Right? You don't need everyone to go to the theater, but you still need people to go to the theater. Right? Hopefully these movies like this, more entertaining movies, are so entertaining that are not preachy, come out, and people are like, you know what? I got to go see that in theater. They don't wait hopefully the 45 days anymore, even though it's like 17 or whatever it is, right? But if they go back to the 45 days and a movie comes out and it's so good, people are talking about it, word of mouth is happening, you have to play it. Look what's happening with Crimson Desert right now, right? Crimson Desert is going up because word of mouth is going out. People are watching it, people are playing it, people are talking about it, and they're like, you know what, that's a good game. So it's going up after the original weekend because that's the word of mouth working, right? That's what movies need to do. Make a good movie that people need to see, want to see in the theater, and people will go to the theater. Regardless if there's a COVID that's killing people. Back when Spider-Man came out, people didn't want to leave their houses, but for some strange reason, $1.9 billion Spider-Man made. It's crazy. No one's going to the theaters. No one's going to the theaters to see shitty films. They want to be entertained. Doesn't matter if it's independent. Doesn't matter if it's a super title, right? Like a blockbuster film. If you make a indie film that's entertaining and people start talking about it, builds up word of mouth, then people go see it because it's a good movie. Sarge says the media is there to push the narrative. They must fight the culture if it doesn't support their message, right? It makes no sense. They're looking to make a problem when there's no problem to be. Roic says, could they imagine them trying to make Blazing Saddles today? Oh, God, I would love that. They can't. The reviewers would also have a complete meltdown. SHD has been activated to fight back against the culture narrative. Titan says this year is packed. I might wait for this on streaming. If it's not a Van Damme film, it's shit. I have fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme, man, back in the day. All his movies are great. All the movies. Even the shitty ones were still good. We actually going to NASA on Friday. We have a good shot of it here. We can see it go up, so we're just going to go outside and watch it. I mean, it's not like super close or anything like that. We're still 40 miles away, but going over to that area, it would be an absolute like clusterfuck. So we're going to NASA on Friday on a field trip with his school, and we're hoping that it gets postponed today and tomorrow and happens on Friday, because once we're done with the field trip, we can stay there and then we're closer because we're already there, right? So I don't think it's going to happen. I hope it does launch today, though, because they do have a if it doesn't launch today, it does launch tomorrow. If it doesn't launch tomorrow, then it'll launch on Friday. Friday's the last window that they have to get it out. Yeah, every time a launch goes up, we can see it from our backyard. It's cool. We went last year. We went closer. We were about 8 miles away, and you sit across the bay, and there's like a restaurant and stuff. You can go get food, and you come back. You sit on the coast, and you just watch it. It's awesome. And then you see the thing come back down and land. Oh, it's so good. It's amazing. Everything you see online when you're like, that looks fake. Now go experience. If you're in Texas, if you're in Florida, it's awesome watching it land. Z says, even Mario, we need to have a full adult relationship. Who's dick and who is Grace go to? Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. Which, like, I get it. If you're talking about like a period piece movie or something like that, it's a kids movie. Like, nobody cares who Mario's fucking in a relationship or whatnot. You know what I mean? They were shitty, but they were also entertaining. Remember Time Cop? Oh, God. Time Cop was so bad. My favorite part of John Wick 1 is, hi, John. Hi, Carl. Are you working again? Yeah. It was funny because when we were watching the ballerina, I really liked the ballerina, but I could notice that the fight scenes were slower pace, right? And I said it, and my wife's like, no, I think they're the same. I said, no, I think they're slower pace. And then in John Wick, you see him, he moves faster. It's just the cameras are just, the way they do, everything is just different. It's still good in Ballerina. I watched a couple of interviews after I watched the movie, and I don't know the actress's name, so pardon me, but she was talking about how she had to learn all this stuff, right? So she's not Keanu Reeves, who's been doing movies all these years. She's newer in the industry. So she had to learn all of these things. So it makes total sense, because you can see, like, when their bad guys are like punching her, Ana de Armas, thank you, Armas. When people are punching her, they go wider out, you know what I mean? Like in the film, and the way she's hitting and stuff, still fantastic, still good, still entertaining. But I just noticed the difference a little bit from her to the John Wick style. Let's see. When I was down in Florida, I went to see SpaceX launch while it was down there. It was awesome. Yeah, it's really cool. She cares who's Mario's doing. Yeah. What this relationship is happening with the princess? It's a cartoon. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, Grace. It's okay. John says Ballerina was good, but action definitely was slower and floaty. Yeah, and it was because of her experience. So hopefully going into like the Ballerina 2, because it's definitely going to get a sequel. And I think they did it perfect, right? I don't want to ruin it for people that didn't see it, but I think they did it perfect, right? Because it does take place in the John Wick universe and stuff like that. I think they did a nice little thread in between. It was perfect. Very entertaining. Recommend it. I heard Ballerina did poorly, so John Wick franchise is kind of on hold. Why would the John Wick franchise be on hold for the Ballerina? They're making another John Wick. John Wick is the fifth one is in production. Well, let's see. I don't know why you would hold because of the Ballerina. I don't know why you would hold John Wick back. Maybe the spin-offs and stuff are doing, because you can't just keep doing John Wick. Let's see. Worldwide, it made $137 million, so it probably lost money. But let's see. Ballerina's budget. Oof, 90 million. Yeah. So it said the budget was increased due to the extensive reshoots and retooled action sequences. So there you go. Right. So there was a lot of problems behind the scenes, but you could tell that the way she was fighting. The film grossed approximately 132 to 137 million worldwide, ultimately struggling to turn a profit after making the marketing costs. So it lost money. But John Wick, I don't think they would stop John Wick from making. Maybe the spinoff of her of the sequels, potentially. Maybe you could do a team up, bring her in the next John Wick film, even though, you know, they have to milk the John Wick IP because they have very few hits. I mean, even if you go back here, we actually have done this in the past. If you go back and look at John Wick, we actually did this last year, 2 years ago. John Wick, when it came out, if you look at it, right, this is the problem when you increase your budget. So John Wick's original budget was $20 million. Okay, $20 million. And then with marketing, obviously, it's probably like half that, maybe just double it. So let's say $40 million. Well, it made $86 million worldwide. Okay, that's the first film. So now when you go back to the Ballerina, okay, here, I'll bring up John Wick. You got Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4, and the Ballerina. Here. Right, so you have John Wick, made $86 million. Budget was $20 million. John Wick 2, right, I don't know what the budget was. Let me go look that up real fast. $40 million. All right, so they went from 20 to 40 million. Okay, 20 million to 40 million, so they doubled it up, right? It made 174 million. Very successful. Very, very successful, right? You don't need to make billions of dollars to be very successful in movies or video games, okay? Then the third film, budget was 75, right? So it went from 20 million to 40 million to 75 million, right? And that one made 328 million. Right? Then the last one, John Wick Chapter 4, made $447 million. Let's see what John Wick 4 cost them. Right? The budget was $100 million. Now, see, here's the problem. $100 million, so now it's $200 million. They made profit here for the very successful again. But they treated the Ballerina as John Wick 5. Right? They treated Ballerina as John Wick 5, and the budget was 100. It was more money than John Wick. Right? This is the fundamental problem with these corporations, right? This is the fundamental problem with corporations. This is a new IP. This is a new IP that they try to squeeze in with the John Wick franchise as a spinoff, and they're like, oh, if we do a spinoff, Sony's doing this with all the Spider-Man films and stuff like that. Okay? John Wick built it up. 20 million, 40 million, 75 million, 100 million. Over 10 years, it earned its increase and it earned its money back. Ballerina is a brand new franchise, brand new character, brand new thing. And they're like, 130 million. What happened? Or 90 million, right? $90 million for a brand new IP. You should have did the $20 million budget for this. But they didn't do that. They didn't do that. And this is why Hollywood doesn't learn. Movie companies, TV companies, video game companies, they don't learn. They just think, oh, put this in front of them. You know John Wick, right? This is going to do very well. It's a good film. Ballerina is a good film. But they spent way too much money on it. Way too much money on it. For a brand new character. Unestablished. Yeah, but even did you see Ballerina? Z? Did you see Ballerina? Yeah, it's a middle story. It takes place like between 3 and 4, is it not? They tried, and this is what they tried. I guarantee you, don't know this for a fact, but I guarantee you that they took, because John Wick, right? Yeah. So John Wick is in the film. I guarantee you they rewrote that in some way, shape, or form. Right? The appearance that he makes in the beginning, you're like, cool, right? No big deal. Just cool. It's just a reference type of thing. But then when they put him back into the film, they knew that their budget was going up. And they're like, well, how do we save this? Well, let's market John Wick in the film. It's a good film. Not for $90 million, though. They probably lost $50 million. So they went backwards. John Wick made all the money for them, and now Ballerina lost $50 million for him. See, now I think that would have been, it would have made more sense if they did that, right? Makes sense. Ballerina was supposed to be in John Wick 5. It makes more sense if they introduced her first in John Wick and then did the spinoff. Do you know what I mean? That's what they should have done. And even when they did that, they should still, even though they're swinging her into her own franchise, they need to lower the production value. Or not the production value, but the budget. The budget was way too high for that. That's the problem with Hollywood. They're like, you like John Wick? Well, this takes place in the John Wick, and they do that with all movies. They're like, you like Spider-Man? Well, these guys take place in Spider-Man. So if you like this, you're going to like that. That's not how that works. That's not how that transitions. You have to establish the character and then build it up. They should do the exact same thing. If they spent $20 million like they did on the first John Wick, or maybe comparable $40 million for the first Ballerina, then they would have been successful. Right? They don't want to make, $10 million profit. They want to make all the profit. They want to make the $1 billion and think they have a hit on their hands. They intended to shoot John Wick 4 and 5 back to back. Ballerina is technically Black Widow for Nat in the John Wick franchise. Yeah, at least they didn't wait 20 years to 10 years too late to make her own movie. Roadkill says, I just got to chapter 3 in Crimson Desert. Fucking amazing. All right, let's go. Let's change topics because we just went down the rabbit hole, which is fine. We always do that here. Okay, we're talking about April Fools and stuff like that, right? Here is a 1 and 45-second video from The Witcher. Okay, from The Witcher. This is a brand new DLC. Remember, it's April Fools, guys.
Get ready. Because this year, the path
You can tell it's a joke right off the bat because of the guy's voice.
is about to change. Introducing Roach, the controller that is also a hobby horse.
Let's go for a ride.
Nothing beats the feeling of roaming the fields of Velen on horseback. And now, you get to experience the game both as Geralt
Yeah, faster, faster.
and his trusty companion Roach. 10 years ago, I was directing a horse motion capture session. That very day, it hit me. No, kicked me. What if the horse was the controller? We took the prototype into a mock-up studio and made sure the horse
Slow down.
will follow your every step. After countless iterations, we've made enormous progress. Now, thanks to precise motion tracking, Roach will never stray from the path like she used to.
Roach, step up your game and take your hobby to the next level.
The fact that they did this, it's so stupid. It's so stupid, but at the same time, it's funny. And this goes a long way, right? This goes a long way because it's just funny. It shows that they have a sense of humor and stuff like that. And they've been building up since Cyberpunk 2077 came out. They've got to be making goodwill to come back. Mr. Z says, Ballerina introduced the character with the lore very well. Too bad, should have introduced the and done spin-off with John Wick. I thought the story, right in the beginning, right? My wife looks at me and goes, oh, you like this, right? Because they're establishing a character. I go, yeah, she's not a Mary Sue. You see the struggle she went through. You see her building up her character to become the badass, right? And then you see her struggle even when she's the ballerina, when she's the assassin type of thing. But then even then she's still struggling, right? And that is a perfect thing because you're watching, it's like watching James Bond for the first time, right? Like he just comes in for like what the James Bond game is basically going to be, right? You're watching them struggle to become the person that you know of James Bond, right? She's becoming this kick-ass ballerina assassin, but she's struggling. She's not a Rey Skywalker where she just knows everything right off the bat. She was like 8 or 9 when it happened, and then basically, built up, 12 years later? So she's like 21, 22 when the movie, fasts forward. I thought it did very well. Oh, there's some brutal stuff in there. The way she takes out people, I was like, I like that. All right. Do you guys want to watch Kingerd's video first, or do you want to watch Legendary Drops video first? Let me put a poll up for you guys. We got Legendary Drops. Oh. And then we got all right. Let me know what you guys want to see first. You want to see Kingerd's video first? You want to see Legendary Drops video first? They're about the same. One's 15 minutes, one's 22 minutes. I'll put up a poll for you. Yeah, put up a poll. Fucking throwing money at me. What do they cover? Legendary Drops is covering gaming is now for the rich. So he's talking about the console prices. Kingerd is talking about live service propaganda versus the Steam charts. What's going on, Ghost Wolf? Mr. Z says, you're only allowed to vote if you give it a like. Well, that means like 5 people. 5 people can only vote. I don't even look at the like stuff. I don't look at my numbers of how many people are here. I don't look at the likes. I don't look at any of that stuff. And at the end, I click it. Every once in a while, I'll look, and then I glance over. Like because I have a whole bunch of stuff on my screen, but I never look. So I don't even know how many people are here to vote. If you're in chat, you're here. You know what I mean? If you're talking in chat, that's who I'm talking to. Even though there's lurkers and stuff out there, I appreciate them very much. Travis says, tough shit. I haven't liked it. Well, I haven't liked yet. I voted. So what now? All right, let's see what you guys... What we got going on here? We've got 64%. We got 11 votes. 11 votes. 64% say Kingerd. 36% say Legendary Drops. We'll leave it there. All right, so let's watch Kingerd. All right, links are in the description down below. All the news stories we cover, all the stuff that we cover is down below in the description. Down in the description as well as our Discord, is our Spotify, is the apparel stuff. Everything is down below. So go over to Kingerd's channel, give it a like, give it a sub. Let's watch his video. If you want to watch it undisturbed, without any pauses and me talking over it, well then go watch Kingerd's video. All right, here we go.
Hey, come on in, sit on down. Well, hey, thanks for having me. It says here you're looking to invest in Battlefield 6. Good choice. I heard you guys had some pretty good sales at launch. Oh, the best sales of 2025 and the franchise. That's great to hear. I just have a couple questions for you first, if that's okay. By all means, fire away. I'm sure I can put your mind at ease. Okay, great. How's the player retention?
Yeah, right. So basically, it looks like I'm a customer. You're trying to sell me your product. I want to know if I'm spending my money. Is going to be long-term investment here, or is it short-term?
What? Yeah, how many of those first players are still playing? Was there a drop-off? We sold 7 million copies in 3 days. Yeah, but are those lobbies still full of people, or are we just playing with a bunch of bots now?
That's right. Battlefield's back, but fix it, please.
Something. We have roadmap content. Well, that's great, but is the content that's been put out so far making people happy? Are they sticking around to play more of it? Battle Pass. Well, with 5 studios making this thing, I mean, is it bringing in enough income that we can still expect steady support? You haven't had to do layoffs or anything like that recently, have you? Touch grass. What? I said touch grass. Who are you coming in here to grift and tell me I can't have fun playing the game I want to play? Whoa, I'm just trying to be an informed buyer. Well, from the sound of it, you shouldn't be buying anything but groceries, you unemployed armchair developer. I work at an accounting firm. I bet you don't get any maidens. Player count. That's the most discourse-polluting thing I've ever heard spewed in my office. I think I'm gonna go. Our shrinking, passionate, niche community.
Steam charts don't measure fun. We don't need player counts to be super huge in order to successful high guard dev. Steam numbers mean nothing. Why are you so fragile about the Steam numbers? Completely natural of Marathon. The game only needs a small, passionate community to survive. Amazing.
He is doing just fine without lowlifes like you. Hi, I'm TheKingerd. If that skit seemed ridiculous to you, good. But unfortunately, it was inspired by real interactions with real people, a lot of them in the games industry themselves. As the referencing of Steam charts has increased discussing live service games, so too has the ear covering and screaming la 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 dismissals. From
all day long. That's the they need the price to go up all the time as the corporate salute, and they close their ears and don't listen to anybody.
Overwatch's senior designer calling people unemployed and maidenless for looking at Steam charts, to Warframe's creative director calling Steam discourse something to be defended against, to comment sections in both my video.
Well, hold on a second. I want to back up here. This is taking out of context because she talked about player count is different now than it was back in the day, right? There's much more competition. Still wrong with what she's saying, but she was also putting it towards the the discourse of it's much easier back in the day than it was today when you look at the Steam numbers and
calling
stuff.
Steam discourse something to be defended against, to comment sections in both my videos and videos of others, accusing others of bad faith or grifting for bringing data into the discussion.
Goddamn data. Would have got. It's like the villain in like a Scooby-Doo episode. I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for that goddamn data.
As Sir Isaac Newton said, for every Steam chart analysis, there would be an equal...
I do know this quote. Yeah. Newton. For every Steam chart analytics, there's always an equal opposite reaction. I remember this.
An opposite reaction, calling it toxic. But what if analyzing the Steam charts wasn't the initial reaction? Instead, it's just a reaction, an unintended side effect haunting an industry that thought it had everything under control.
Gotcha! Oh my god!
If you already look at Steam charts, this video is going to be reaffirmation for you, highlighting what it provides, why you're not crazy for caring about it, and of course, why the industry doesn't want you looking at it.
Hey, look, it's the wizard behind the curtain we always talk about.
Attention to that man behind the curtain.
And if you don't look at Steam charts, or maybe you detest people who do, maybe consider this video some insight into the opposing side, and you don't have to agree, but maybe at least you can understand. Let's get into it.
Right, Altern? I remember that in science class as well, yeah.
But you know what data is best kept secret? Yours. If you use my link to get up to 4 extra months privacy thanks to today's sponsor, ExpressVPN. Sick of being drug around by your region's limits on what movies and shows are available to you on streaming services like Netflix or Prime Video, and even 2021. No need for that anymore. Just VPN for sponsoring this video.
So, back to it.
Oh, God. That clip, if you guys ever watched The Walking Dead, that was the end. That hit right there that doesn't get shown ruined The Walking Dead for me. I loved Glenn, man. And I was like, oh, God.
So why do Steam charts matter? The problem all started when the industry stopped treating us like players and started treating us like investors. It's not enough to sell the best game we can once and move on. Now we need to sell a high-risk model that lives or dies on long-term investment. Yes, investment from...
Right, live service games are... You're not just selling me, you're selling me on the player base, and the player base is not there. Hence why I like co-op games. Hence why I like playing single-player games. And, you know, if it's, I can play co-op with people like a Hytale, like a Minecraft, like a Valheim, right? I would rather do that.
The shareholders, but also investment from the players. Put in your time, put in your money. It'll pay off for you in the long run.
Who could have predicted this?
Now, obviously, investing in a $40 to $70 game or a $10 battle pass.
See, just enough real fast on the Walking Dead stuff. I didn't know that hit is what killed it. Like, I didn't know that's what it was for me. Like, that happened, and like I died in that moment, and then I continued watching the show, and it just didn't click with me anymore. I was just like, that's it. And then hindsight's 2020, right? When I thought about it, I was like, that hit right there is what killed it for me.
Is not the same as reviewing the NASDAQ, but the principle is the same. A system designed to keep us paying like investors didn't account for what would happen when we started thinking like investors. As somebody who's worked with investors and investments my entire adult life,
He's actually trying, what a nerd.
The one thing that successful investors will never
Look at the sleepy dog behind him.
do is blindly throw their money at an investment without wanting to review some kind of metric. Unless they're swimming in that FU money, then they'll just throw money at whatever someone they trust tells them to, but keyword there, trust. I don't trust an industry that kills off games faster than new Walking Dead side characters.
Do it.
I don't trust this this model that gives us overblown budgets or unrealistic income goals leading to disappointing live service like Battlefield 6. Release now, fix later like X-Defiant. Release...
This is why I love Kingerd's editing. I love Kingerd's editing. Okay, it's so good.
Now, finish later like Halo Infinite. Removing paid content and proudly keeping quality low for the roadmap like Destiny. Increasingly predatory microtransactions to persuade more people to open their wallets like Call of Duty or Diablo. Promising better content later only to cancel it like Anthem and the 2.0 overhaul. How's that going? Now we can dunk on the people who make bad investments like buying a skin in this particular game, for example.
High guard.
But the point is,
Oh, man.
that money's gone, that return on investment is zero, there's no more fun to be had for the money they gave.
Yeah.
It's gone. Bad investment. And despite what main character syndrome for some might say, one passionate player is not enough to keep a live service game running. It's only rational for some people to want to see how many other people are investing in the same game before making a decision to...
Right, people don't think that, but companies know this, right? Companies have known this for decades. Hence why they show you long lines. This is why they tell you something's popular. This is why they show you the weekend box office. This is why they tell you about the Nielsen ratings. This is why they tell you stuff. Why do you think companies tell you that 67 million people watch the show, or 5 million people bought the game, or 32 million people like lined up for this for the show, sold out concert? Why do you think they tell you this? Because we hear this stuff, we're like, oh, sold out show, oh, I gotta go see him. It's gotta be a great performance. I gotta see him next time he comes in. I've got to go to the theater to watch this movie. Everyone's talking about it. It's the #1 movie at the box office. I have to play this video game. The video game is so good, it's sold this many copies. They know this. They know this. Hence why they did it. But now we live in a world where the media, okay, is seen outside of the main sources. So now when you can see, right, talking about Glenn getting hit with a baseball bat and not knowing the problem until, months later and going, this is what killed the thing. Steam came out, and when Steam started showing the numbers of the people playing the video game that were interested in the video game, the industry didn't know this, but it exposed them. They exposed them because then people are like, oh, wait a minute. I can see who's actually playing. They're not hiding it from me. It's transparency. So when they did that, everyone can see it now. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. High number, low number, greater than, less than. If the number's bigger, it's more popular. You see it every single day on YouTube and Twitch. If you go in and pull up a Twitch stream on your main thing, it's going to show you the people that have a lot of people. Like if you go watch a game, Crimson Desert, top spot's probably going to be Shroud or somebody up there because they have more people watching. So what do? As a viewer, you go, oh, I don't know what this game is. I don't know who that content creator is, but he's got 6,000 people watching him. So you click on that, and then it kind of falls down after that, right? It's the exact same thing. Data points show what's popular, what's not popular. But the game companies, the movie industry, booksellers, all these people are like, no, you can't look at that. That's just a small percent. So is the Nielsen ratings. But at the same time, here we are. They tell you this many people watch the show.
Do so themselves. People want security, certainty, the least amount of risk possible for their time and especially their money. They don't want to be rewarded with content droughts and shutdowns.
That's right.
So what data can we review? What data do these companies willingly provide the public so we can assess that risk?
Nothing.
Well, when they're actually proud of their sales figures, we get sales figures.
That's
like
right.
with Arc Raiders, Helldivers 2, or even Battlefield 6.
Right. When they're excited about it, they tell you. But then when they're not excited, you can't look at that number.
If they're not proud of the sales numbers, maybe a game had a free trial, maybe it was available on a subscription service, or maybe it genuinely just did not sell well, then we usually get total player numbers like FBC Firebreak, engagement like Skull and Bones, whatever even counts toward that figure. And if they're not even proud of that figure, then we get nothing and also scolded for asking, like with Splitgate 2, Marathon, and Concord.
Yep.
The problem is not one of these announcements gives us the true indicator of a worthwhile live service investment: retention. People are looking for a healthy, active player base because that's what a live service game needs to function and continue. No massive drop-offs, continued daily logins, and so on.
Let's go back to this for a second.
And continue.
Does this look good to you? If you were an investor, which you're not, you're just a gamer, right? But if you looked at a company and someone showed you metrics, what game here would you play? Out of these 4 games, which one would you play to spend money on to go, you know what? This one's getting my investment, right? They're all going down. Obviously, that's what happens. But out of all of these, which one are you going to play? You're like, I'm looking to play with a lot of people.
No massive drop-offs, continued daily logins, and so on. We've all seen the disclaimers 1,000 times by now. We all know that Steam charts are not indicative of every single player. We know some games are also available on console. We know some games are available on other launchers. But Steam is the biggest PC launcher in the world. So when it comes to measuring trends, it's still a good snapshot that tells us
100%.
when player
It's the Nielsen rating of video games. It's the Nielsen rating of video games.
Interest go up and player interest go.
It's a percentage of the player base to tell you, projected wise, how many people are playing your game.
Down. I'd love to never have to give that disclaimer again, but y'all would be shocked at how many people still don't understand basic statistics. If all I paid attention to was what a company showed me, all I'd see for Battlefield 6 is an admittedly great new map that is a step in the right direction from the 2 cramped ones at launch, but what I would not see is the 90+%
What's happening there?
direction from the 2 cramped ones at launch. But
what is happening right there? Why is there so many guys just bundled up right there?
Would not see is the 90+% player drop off on Steam, thanks to over monetization, inconsistent updates to game mechanics, a way too slow drip feed of content that.
I'm going to push back a little bit here, Kingerd. You're probably listening or you'll watch this afterwards. I'm going to push back a little bit here is that they pushed this out way early. This game shouldn't have been out yet. All these things could have been not a problem if they just held it back another 6 to 8 months, right? Because here we are actually 8 months back. And now that this map, if they started with this and they fixed the stuff that they did and it came out this time, they would have a better time right now. People, not only would I think they would have shattered the number that they had, even though they got a shit ton of, right? But the word of mouth would have been much better afterwards.
Was supposed to course correct from the overemphasis on winning the.
But now they're not going to fix it, by the way. Now it's just a slow, procrastinate as long as you can until we can announce the next Battlefield. That's what's happening now.
Odd crowd back at launch. Many people.
I'm going to back up here for a second.
90+% player drop off on Steam, thanks to over monetization, inconsistent updates to game mechanics, a way too slow drip feed of content that was supposed to course correct from the overemphasis on winning the COD crowd back at launch. Many people, including me, were excited at launch because the bones were there, but as goes the trend, the rug was pulled, and instead of more of what separates.
See, I disagree. The rug wasn't pulled. This was a big beacon light that I saw from a fucking mile and a half away. And I was like, this is not it. After I played the beta, I was like, it's good, but this game is not ready to come out. I saw what they were going to do. I knew exactly what they were doing.
Battlefield from COD, we got a battle royale, more small lanes, and of course, shop rotations.
We were on the verge of greatness. We were this close.
No, we weren't. We weren't ever close. You think we were close, but it was a Trojan horse the entire time.
Sales figures tell you who buys in, but they do not tell you how long they decide to stay in. So naturally, if someone's thinking about investing by buying, playing, or supporting through microtransactions, a game whose life cycle and support depends on how many other players are also doing that, and there's a chart out there that shows the rises and falls of PC players on the most popular PC storefront in the world, we can either use that for reference or we can stay completely blind. And like many of you, I happen to like my money. I don't want to invest.
Everyone should like their money. You don't want to buy something that's bullshit. Hence, this is what the whole podcast that we do every day, right? I don't care what you do with your money. I'm just trying to give you enough information so you can spend your money wisely.
Blind, which is where the Steam charts don't matter argument starts to fall apart. While it is true that if everyone collectively decided ignorance was bliss and just play a game no matter what, risk or no risk, we probably would see higher player counts for several live service games today. But that's not the type of player this industry has spent the last several years crafting and molding. And sure, it may not seem fair that player count has such a snowball effect on a game's popularity or its death.
Because it works both ways, right? If you're going to market it and try to build it up as way it is, well, we can break it down just as easy.
But that's the type of model this industry has decided to prioritize. Not every game should be casual, not every game should be for everyone. But if we know a very expensive to make game is not pulling in the numbers that the company behind it probably expected, the writing's on the wall. Nobody's saying you can't still have fun playing it, we're just saying we're not so sure how long it'll last or how good the support will be once that company starts axing stuff. Whether that be content, whether that be people.
Rockstar confirms end of major Red Dead Online support. Battlefield developer laid off by EA months after Battlefield 6, which is just crazy to think about. You had the #1 selling game, not the month, for the entire year, and you still got rid of people.
Or maybe even eventually the game itself. We don't owe it to any single game, any single developer, any single publisher to give them, what, pity money? And I'm a guy that hops around on games, but one thing I know.
That's good hours there, Kingerd. You got Helldivers. You got, well, I can't see because your hand's in the way.
Sure, is that
what was that? You got
pity money, and I'm a guy.
83 hours in Helldivers. Good. That's respectable. It's respectable, right? That's respectable. Arc Raiders got 69. Giggity.
That hops around on game.
330. What is that? Halo? Is that Halo back there?
But one thing I know for sure is that if there's a genuine question mark in my head of if a game's even going to be there a year from now, I'm not putting my money into it. That's just the way it is. And the only types of games that remain completely unaffected by player counts are usually single-player games.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. See, here's the difference. If you like a PvP game, but nobody's playing it, it's a dead game because you need a player base to play it, right? So sooner or later, it's going to close. A single-player game is just that. So if a single-player game comes out and you play it and you don't like it and everyone else does or everyone else doesn't like, whatever, it fails, but you still play it, you can still play it, you can still enjoy it, and nothing happens because you can turn it on and you can continue playing it. It doesn't matter if it's a shitty game or a bad game. If you enjoy it because it's not going away. PvP live service games, though, on the other hand, you pay money and they're gone. Can't play them again.
The ones that aren't trying to sell themselves as ongoing experiences anyway. It's why a game like Crimson Desert or Resident Evil 9 can see a drop-off in its first couple weeks, and in that case, yeah, the Steam chart actually doesn't matter, because my playthrough of this single
But what matters is it's showing you how many people concurrently played it, meaning it sold really well.
Player game will be the same if there's a million other people playing it or if it's just me. But that's not what we're talking about today.
Right.
We're talking about games that tangibly suffer from low.
Right. You have to wait for the lobbies. And then look what it says right underneath. At least it's telling you that, right? Populating with bots.
Player counts, longer matchmaking times, bots filling lobbies, skill imbalance being more likely between any two players the less players that there are, less updates, less fixes, less content, shutdown. With multiplayer-focused games, player count is the foundation of the experience. Of course, a senior designer for Overwatch 2, the poster child of broken promises in live service games, now rebranded to just Overwatch in the hopes people will forget just how hard their rug pull of a...
Right. Wave that hand in front. This is not the Overwatch you're looking for. Overwatch 2 you're looking for.
Greed-fueled, unnecessary player migration was...
That was like 8 years ago, so people don't forget.
I know I interviewed Kingerd and asked him how he finds these things. I want to know if his brain just constantly he's like, oh, that clip from Superbad's going to go in here. It's like it's crazy how much time he has to spend to try to find these clips to put in.
Overwatch in the hopes people will forget just how hard their rug pull of a greed-fueled, unnecessary player migration was.
That was like 8 years ago. So people don't forget.
Well, of course they want to downplay the court of public opinion. Now their rebrand appears to be so far so good, and despite
it's a big awakening after 2 years.
Steam counts being limited for Overwatch since Battle.net is
now are they going to go back and show you that the Steam charts are good now because there was a upbeat
thing? I would take this over something out of the mouth at someone at Blizzard any day. Of course, passionate Marathon fans want people to stop asking questions about the player count and just play. They want a game they love to survive, and I don't blame them for that. But just like with single-player games, context is important. I applaud Bungie for apparently fixing a lot of my issues with it in their latest update, and it appears the game may be good enough to hold tens of thousands of concurrents every day, albeit with a slight daily decline, and we still have yet to see where the floor will be, meaning where the number finally...
Yeah, it still hasn't found its I know people think of it, right? This game's a month old. It still hasn't found its player base yet. The player base will go down and down and down. It'll probably end up in the 12,000s, 16,000s. And that'll be the daily that are there.
Stops going notably lower and levels out, as most live service games eventually do. But from the looks of things, even though the Cryo Archive has now opened up, you know, that thing that Bungie asked journalists to wait for to review their month-old game, and they complied like the loyal dogs they are, that didn't boost the Steam numbers all that much.
Nope.
However, if you look at the charts, these aren't normally the kinds of numbers that spell dead game just yet. But are those numbers sustainable?
Oof. That is a big difference right there. When you have 800,000 people on Steam and you only have 88,000 all-time concurrent.
Normally the kinds of numbers that spell dead game just yet. But are those numbers sustainable enough to meet Sony's goals, especially after the latest report that sales estimate 1.2 million copies with over 70% of players being on PC? I mean, Sony bought Bungie for this. They spent 6 years worth of development money on what amounts to a sliver of the kind of game Bungie used to put out. That sliver could be good, it could be great, it could be fun, but is it sustainable enough for Sony to prioritize steady content and
not for $40 and $250 to $300 million budget
support? These don't look like shutdown numbers to me, but are they high enough to avoid reducing resources for Marathon's post-launch content, like with layoffs or moving employees to focus on something else? We'll see what happens, but unless that community is just rampant with whales, my money says no. And by money, I mean the money I'm gonna keep. And if the horde of Marathon stands, the most inviting community in gaming and recipients of Most Likely to Take Criticism Well award, are back from the last video's comment section, wipe your tears off your keyboard. I'm not telling you what to do with your own money. I'm just saying, for me, too risky of an investment to me. And I will gladly keep referring to the Steam charts when informing this decision.
Yeah, because that's what you should. Imagine going into something like buying a house in a market that's crashing, right? And you're looking to invest. You're trying to buy a house for an investment, and it's a downturn right now. It's probably not the best time to buy a house to sell it, right? To flip it.
There are some that post
or a car. Just don't look at any charts. Just close your eyes, just randomly pick something and then go, I'm going to sell these things.
Middle of the night, disingenuous Steam counts for clicks, but for the average, normal person that just wants to be careful with how they spend their hard-earned money, viewing Steam charts isn't cynical, it isn't toxic, it isn't obsessive, it's simply an adaptation to an industry that decided for us that fun and upfront sales isn't enough for a game to be successful anymore. Good return on investment doesn't come from
Yellow Sticks Forever says, to be honest, the marathon counts are totally fine for a $40 game. You're going to have lobbies for years. I don't know about years. You're going to have this year. You're going to have lobbies. The problem is this game lives or dies. It's not like it was back in the day with COD or Battlefield, right? This is a live service game. If no one is spending money on these cosmetics and stuff going forward, this is going to die faster than those games.
Throwing your money at the first up-and-coming startup that someone on the internet tells you you're stupid for having doubts about. If the games industry doesn't want people thinking like critical investors anymore, it has two options. Option number one, make every investment worthwhile with no room for getting burnt, meaning every single live service game that's released is good, fruitful, all of world hunger and cancer are cured, and everyone lives in perfect harmony.
Like that's ever gonna happen.
Or two, the more likely choice, is break the cycle of needing smash hit, high risk, high reward live.
Lower the budget. Don't need the constant, you know what I mean? Look at that. Fragpunk, 98% percentage lost. Mecha Break, 97.3. Killer Floor, 97.1. Skate, 95.4. Blue Protocol, 95. Firebreak, 95. Dune Awakening, 94.4. Splitgate 2, 94.3. Rematch, right? 93.6. Sonic Rumble, 85.1. These are catastrophic drop-offs.
Service to keep their doors open. And nobody can make that choice for them but them. Until the day that happens, I'm gonna keep being an informed investor, and I'm gonna keep referring to Steam charts. And if you're gonna do the same, just remember, it's not crazy for you to assess risk for what's asking for your money. To see an even more extreme disconnect between the industry and its players, Click right here. Thank you, champ.
You're also comparing a franchise, though. Like, think about what you just said there, though, Yellowstick, right? You're like, but like I play Halo Infinite. I load in without any issue. The player count is regularly 2,000 to 3,000. Fine. That is a franchise that's been around for 20 years. 20 years. Not a brand new licensed IP or a brand new game that's coming out and it's a live service game. High Guard was out for 45 days. Concord was out for 2 weeks. Not even 13 days. Right? You're comparing a franchise that's been around for 20 years to other franchises that are brand new trying to make a live service game. Right? There's a lot of weight behind a Halo game. A lot of weight. Regardless if it's in the shitter right now. Right, that's what I'm saying though, Shadow. 2 to 3K is not good for Halo. You're comparing going, well, yeah, it's Halo. It's still around. Yeah, because it's a first-party title. It's been around for 20 years. It's a mega franchise. There's been like 7 games of Halo with the Halo Wars and stuff like that. Right? Come out with a brand new game. Look at what's happened to Splitgate. The Splitgate live service game, struggling. Right? High Guard gone. Concord gone. Firebreak's gone. Some of these are free-to-play games. Aku says Modern Marathon is a new IP because of the changes they made. Yeah, it's Marathon by name. It's not the same game at all. I just mean Marathon numbers are fine. The game is likely going to lose money, but the player counts and the unit sales are way too high to shut it down. What charts are you looking at, bro? They haven't even made their money back. What charts are you looking at? They have 1.2 million sales. They need to sell 7 million copies to make money back. Even if everyone that's playing, 1.2 million people that are playing, buy a microtransaction for $10, they have to buy something for $10 every single month just to recoup that. And they're still losing money. Like, take a step back for a second, Yellow. I understand if you like the game and stuff, but you can't look at it and go, yeah, it's fine. You're the meme right now when you walk into the room with the pizza in your hand and the whole house is on fire. You're like, it's fine. Firebreak's on. They stopped supporting it. They said a couple weeks ago, didn't they? Just enough. Am I wrong on that? There's like 5 people playing the game. Let me see. Let's look. I'm sorry. I was wrong. It's 10 people. 10 people playing the game. Now, someone that likes Firebreaker, they might pop in the channel and they might say, Firebreaker's fine. Every time I get in, I still have a full lobby. Yeah. If there's 2 people that are only playing with 2, right? If there's it's a 3-player team, there's one person playing by himself right now, and the other 9 people are playing with each other, and they go, yeah, everything's fine. Every time I play the game, I open it up and I get right into the game. Yep, sure do. I wouldn't call the game's numbers that's declining every day and currently more than half less from what the number was when it launched. Yeah, I mean, I get it if you like it. I get it, right? Don't get me wrong. Okay, but to say that it's fine, it's not fine. From a business standpoint, it's not fine. From a gamer standpoint, you getting in, sure. The thing is, Marathon's numbers are actually very good for the type of game it is. Those are good. So what's Arc Raiders? What's Arc Raiders? We know they're not happy with the numbers because unlike Crimson Desert, they haven't announced anything. They keep making changes, by the way. Joe Ziegler keeps coming out and saying, "Oh, we're trying something different. We're trying something new." They're trying to figure out what's going on. Justin Huff says marathon numbers are fine for players. Yeah, if you're a player, put your blinders on, log in and play the game. Enjoy. From a business standpoint, those players enjoy your time because it's not going to be around for a while. Do you think Marathon's going to be around 5 years from now? Do we think this franchise that Marathon's doing 5 years from now is going to still be here in this form that it is right now? Maybe he says, yeah, exactly. To argue that Marathon is a bad game. No one said it. I never said it was a bad game. Very good extraction shooter. Arguably a great one, but the budget was insane for what it is. Right. I never said it was a bad game. We're talking about the numbers of it and people coming in and saying it's successful. It's not successful. In any way, shape, or form is it not successful. If you're a person that likes the game and you don't care about the numbers, then don't talk about numbers. Just play the game. But if you actually want to have a conversation about business and how the game is not succeeding and it could shut down because it's not doing very well, then welcome to the conversation. I've said it on camera. I said Sony's going to keep this running for at least a year. At least a year. Because they've invested $3.7 billion inside of Bungie. They need this game to work. So they're going to try as much as they can to make it work. Windows says, perfect way to sum it up. Fine for the players, not fine for the business, which is the end won't be giving you fine for you and the players. That's likely because how fine it is when it gets shut down after time you had put into it. Right, which is just, at that point, it's the same thing with like happens to Anthem and happens to everything else. You get sad. You're like, oh, man, all the time I put in. That can't take that time away from you that's spent in, that you put into it. But it's a little upsetting because you paid for this game, and when they do shut it down, you can't play it anymore. See, the problem is if I stop playing Crimson Desert 10 years from now, when I want to play Crimson Desert again, I can play it. I don't need a lobby. I don't need online access. I could just play the game, right? That's the difference between someone playing a game and if they shut it down, I can still play it. Now, there are some single-player games that get delisted because of the licensing agreement and stuff like that, which also pisses me off because if I buy the game, I should be able to play it. Bungie literally made you can't play the Red War anymore in Destiny 2. You can't play it. It doesn't exist. But I purchased it. Can't play it. What did Mo say? I'm saying it's a bad game because fuck Bungie. I mean, that's fine, but that doesn't bring anything to the conversation. All right, let's go to the next thing. I'm sure people will have plenty to say about, which is Legendary Drops video talking about gaming is now for the rich. Before you even watch this, gaming has never been, when people say gaming is a rich person's hobby, no, collecting cars and going on yachts is a rich person's hobby. Video games has always been for middle class, okay, and lower. Because people that are rich don't have time to play games. That's why they're rich. And then the middle class and the lower class would go to Blockbuster or they would go to different places to rent games, to buy games. And consoles didn't cost, $1,000. And when they did, like the Neo Geo or the Atari Jaguar back in the day, those systems didn't sell well. And then they closed down because developers weren't making games for a system that wasn't selling well. So here we are today, where consoles are going up in price. Less people are buying consoles before even all of this happened. Okay. It's been a decline of consoles every generation up until this point, right? Still, right? But people defend it. They'll be like, no, more people are playing no, less people have bought every single console every generation since 2008. And yet people are like, oh yeah, this is fine. Go out and buy a PlayStation for $1,000, $900. Go out and buy a Xbox that's $800. Right? This is not normal. This is going to be very bad, because if people stop buying consoles, then people stop making games for consoles. And if they stop making games for consoles, then you go back down to having nothing, which is fine, because we have plenty of stuff to play from 40 years of video games. Plenty of stuff. Right? If you guys like it, we're going to comment on Legendary Drops video. Linked in the description down below. Give it a like. Give it a sub. Go check his stuff out. We check his stuff out all the time. So appreciate it. Hit that like button over here. Here we go.
When they're the ones that are making everything too expensive to buy. Imagine being blamed for not buying enough when they're the ones that are making everything.
Even when you buy enough, they shut down studios.
Too expensive to buy. How many of you guys have been sitting around asking, when is this going to stop? It's now gotten to the point where the price to just live, let alone even buy a video game, is getting out of the reach of damn near everyone. And now we have PlayStation raising their prices for the second time in less than a year.
10 months.
$100 across the board.
Yep.
And this is coming.
Xbox did it in 6 months from each other. PlayStation did it in 10 months.
Off of the tail of other price increases that we've seen already throughout the entire industry. Nintendo, Xbox, PC gaming hardware. It just feels like it won't stop. All these guys are sitting around, these executives, talking about how all these price increases are supposed to feel inevitable. Like it's just a bridge that we have.
This is the same thing with IPs that people like to buy. You know, like Disney buying Marvel or Star Wars. They're like, oh, we have a built-in fan base. We have gamers that have been playing PlayStation games and Xbox games for decades. No matter what we raise the price, they'll buy it. Sure. There are the 1%ers, the 5%ers that will buy that, right? You can look at it. Look at Nintendo. When it first came out, originally, 4 million people. Bam. 4 million people bought it, right? Then slowly, they sold 10 million, right? But the original people that are going to buy it. Same with the PlayStation 5 Pro. The people that bought the first PlayStation 5, that bought the PlayStation 5 Pro. People that bought the Xbox Series S when it first came out, and then they got the Xbox Series X. No matter what comes out, those people are going to buy the things. They think that there's way more of those people than everybody else. They've built up the biggest industry in the world, video games, okay? And they think, well, now that we're here, they want to go the mobile market route, where less people, more money, right? They want whales. They want krakens. They want the person that's going to buy this is going to buy everything else, and that's not how it works.
To cross, but that bridge is now turned into an escalator that the vast majority of people cannot afford to get on. None of this is necessary. They're all lying to you. Every single one of them. They can cry AI. They can talk about market headwinds. They can talk about shortages or inflation or whatever they want. But at the end of the day, all this is these are companies that do not want to take any accountability. They would much rather hand over and pass down their mistakes to you, the customer.
Right. Always push it forward to the customer. PlayStation, every single one, right? I have an article I can bring up, right? Every single year or every single generation, it's gone down in price. Right now, the system should be half the price it was when it came out, right? We were 6 years into the life cycle of this system. Xbox and PlayStation should all be half the price they were, right? Because they made their money up front from the people that bought it. They made their money back from all the people buying the microtransactions. And this is just old school mentality before the live service stuff, before the microtransactions, before the PlayStation Now and the Xbox Game Pass and whatnot. That's before all this. They were making money off of us and losing money on the consoles after a certain period of time. That's why they could lower the price to $199 to $99.
And make you pay the cost of it. They have taken our dedication, they have taken our loyalty, they have taken our money, and they have done nothing but churn out garbage games. Now they want to blame us for it. This entire industry is just going to eat itself alive.
Well, I'll tell you what, which is fine, because it got bloated. A lot of people are gamers. I've been playing games since I was 3, when gaming started, right? Someone that's 70 years old has been playing games just as long as me, because the Atari maybe the ColecoVision stuff a little bit longer. Okay. But we all started around the same point. I was 3. They were 15.
Today, what I want to do is I want to talk about where these prices are coming from. How apparently now video games are being made for the rich. What that's going to do for society, and also how all of this is just going to end up.
Yeah, Starbucks is for rich. I just get a cup of coffee, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, all these things, everyone always raises their prices. They would rather have fewer people, more money, instead of making a good product and getting the masses come into the door.
In flames. Before that, a word from today's sponsor, Boot.dev, longtime partner of the channel and one of the best websites if you want to learn to code instead of just vibing out.
Actually, I think we had in television, Shadow, but I was 3. I just remember playing the bowling game and Breakout and Pitfall.
To a YouTube video in the background that you would then close afterwards. If you guys actually want to learn how to do it, this is the site to use. I hop on the site in my free time because it doesn't feel like I'm actually studying. I'm earning XP, completing quests, fighting bosses, and the whole time I'm actually learning back-end development, Python, SQL. Link is in the description. Guys, 6 years. That's all it took for the price of video games, something that used to be one of the most...
Right, this generation, it's changed from $60 to $70 to $80 to $900 video games now, or consoles now.
Most accessible forms of entertainment to get pushed damn near out of the reach of most normal people. First came the price increase up to $70 back in 2020, right when people were locked into their homes with not a lot of other options, and people just kind of forked the money over. Fast forward to today, and well...
That's because we were all stuck in our houses for 2 weeks.
Last couple of years have been nothing but constant headlines about prices going up again and again. Games hitting $80, even $100. Nintendo being the first to break the second of the 66 seals. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Supernatural lately. Then came AI, then came the global trade tariffs. Then it was just a bunch of other convenient excuses that just made the prices go even further up. First, it was Xbox with Game Pass. Then it was Xbox hardware went up, not once, but twice. Then
right. Twice in 6 months.
PlayStation raised their hardware prices last fall, and now here we are, just eight months later, again with PlayStation increasing the price of the PlayStation Pro to $899, which is basically brushing up against $1,000 after tax. PlayStation excused this on their website, saying, with continued pressures in the global economic landscape, we have made the decision to...
Shut up. Shut up. You've made... They admittedly even said it's the most profitable console they've made. They've made more money with the PlayStation 5 than any other console they've ever made. And yet now they have to raise the prices. They can't eat the cost like in the past, right? They have to keep going. Why is that? Why is that? Why do you think that is? Is because they don't know where their player base is going, right? 57% of their player base that's still on PlayStation 4 hasn't moved over to PlayStation 5. They keep raising the prices, and the people that have the PlayStation 5s, right? And this goes with Xbox as well, right? But PlayStation 5, okay, they have their headsets, their handhelds, their controllers, all the other stuff, because they keep selling to the people that are buying and in the ecosystem. So they keep going back to that well. Instead of trying to open the door to get other people to come in from the 57% that probably played every single PlayStation console they've had, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Stopped at 4 because 5 was too expensive. And they're like, nah, we're good. We're just going to stay here. We're just going to stay at PlayStation 4. Plenty of games on PlayStation 4 to play. Plenty of games to play.
Increase the prices of PS5, PS5 Pro, and the PlayStation Portal Remote Player globally. We know that these price changes impact our community, and after careful evaluation, we found that this was a necessary step to ensure that we can continue delivering innovative, high-quality gaming experiences to players worldwide. Man, guys, I don't know what to tell you. This is just global pressure. It's market headwinds.
What game is this that he's playing? I know Waterbear said it's like a hero shooter MOBA. What game is this?
You just can't avoid it. I don't know what to do. It's AI taking over the world. It's tariffs. It couldn't possibly have anything to do with Sony funding over 12 live service games only to cancel half of them, burning hundreds of millions of dollars in the process. It couldn't possibly have anything to do with the critical lack of first-party output, the 8 studios they've shut down over the past couple of years, the estimated $400 million they burned on Concord, or the fact that their biggest bet, Marathon, which allegedly was around $250 million budgeted before marketing, which means it's probably closer to $400 million all in, only managed to make over just $1 million in sales, and less than a month later is now averaging 36,000 players on Steam, a platform that makes up roughly 70% of their audience. Now, yes, I know that Marathon is some divine success that we just can't see, and that the developer...
Right. It's just amazing. Apparently, everyone can see it except for the actual data.
Are in it for the long haul, but I would also like to remind everybody that HighGuard had a 1-year roadmap, so maybe let's just come back down to earth for a second. Surely it is global headwinds and not the fact that their live service future is now hanging on a morbidly obese Amazon that lost a foot to diabetes. Now, while it might seem like I'm singling...
Steam box with deadlock at launch, Titan says. What about the Steam box comes out and just like a year into it, they have... I can't think of it. The fucking... Holy shit. I can't think of the game. What's the game they have? They have 2 of them. I can't think of the goddamn name. It's super old. Oh my god. It'll come to me. You guys will say it probably before I even think of it. Half-Life 3. Thank you very much, Cisco. I was like, my brain's... Imagine they just come out and they say Half-Life 3 on Steam Deck. Everyone will be like... Right? They just move over to it right away.
Out Sony here, I promise you guys that I'm not, because all of these guys are making the exact same mistakes. Xbox just the same. These guys have taken years of players' goodwill and support and money, and they have sacrificed it on an altar of live service, of subscriptions and games that nobody ever wanted to play. And now those same companies are trying to come to you, and they're trying to gaslight you into believing that these price increases are somehow out of their hands. Like this is just something of the weather. It's just the market. It's just...
Yeah, it's just out of their hands. They don't know what to do. They're like, yeah, who could have seen this coming?
It's this unfortunate reality that we have no control over. No, this is cost transference. This is them pushing accountability and the cost of their own failures directly onto the customer, all to keep their shareholders happy instead of just taking the hit, digging deep, and rebuilding their trust and reputation that they have destroyed. Their belief, or rather their faith in this matter, is that, well, the players are just mindless slugs. That the hardcore gaming audience that makes up 18 to 20% of players is just...
Most preferred genres and game types played by on primary platforms. Hardcore gamer, 28.6 million. Play 8.5 genres, 42 hours per week. First-person shooter, 57%. Open world action, 55%. Action adventure, 47%. Battle royales, 45%. Role playing, 43%. Third-person shooter, 42%. Sports, 42%. And fighting, 39%. AAA games, 73%. AA games, 54%. Indie games, 41%. 42% prefer to play older games. That's PlayStation 4 guys right there, right? Core gamer, 72.1 million. Play 4.4 genres, 22 hours per week. Okay, casual, 39%. Puzzles, 33%. First person's 25%. Open world, 24%. Card casino, 23%. Racing, 22%. Fighting, 20%. Action adventure, 20%. 42% AAA, 24% AA, and 22%. 69% prefer to play older games of the core gamer. So 72 million people, 69% of them like to play old games as well. And then the casual gamer, 55.5 million, play 2.8 genres, 4 hours per week. Okay, I know a lot of people like this. Okay, AAA titles, 25%, AA titles, 8%, indie titles, 16%, 81% prefer to play older games.
Going to keep buying things no matter what, that their demand is basically inelastic. It's unmoving. It's never going to change. That they can raise prices, strip value, and make mistake after mistake, and that crowd is still going to show up and just fork it over. And for everybody else, well, the rest of the sheep will just fall in line.
Yellow says, who the fuck are these hardcore gamers? Who are these people? Like 42 hours a week? Like, it's insane. Literally, how? Let me introduce you to somebody. Let me go get them real fast. Hi, yes. My name's 30NSG, and I have 100 hours in Crimson Desert in 11 days. There you go. You've met somebody.
Too, because they're going to convince themselves these prices are temporary when they are anything but that. Because if any of this was about economic headwinds, then the prices would eventually go back down.
Water Bear doesn't do this for a living. How many hours do you have in Crimson Desert right now?
when those winds change, but that never happens. I'd like to remind people that we were once told that game prices would come down when the industry shifted into digital, but instead we just got the opposite. I'd like to also remind people that the $70 price increase didn't happen until lockdown.
People that want to play stuff or do things make time for stuff. I've been losing sleep just so I can play the game. Right? I get up earlier. I go to bed later. I play in between stuff. If I have a moment of time, I make sure I do it ahead of time. That way I know I have time to play the stuff. People will do what they need to do.
When publishers and console makers were making more money than they were actually spending, they had more engagement, more investment that they ever had seen in their entire lives. Even when these guys are winning, they're still pretending like they're losing. Now, while I understand that people can and largely will just keep playing what they already have for now, the long-term effects of this are going to be brutal. We are already brushing up against $1,000 consoles, and we're not even in the next generation yet, which is likely going to be even worse. That means that this is an industry that built itself.
I don't get up that early. Calm down. I go to bed at 2 a.m. I don't get up at 4 a.m. 6 a.m. 6 a.m.
on lower and middle income households, and they are now slowly cutting those people out of the picture. Gaming becomes a luxury, hardware becomes a luxury, and I genuinely do not understand how any of these companies can look at that and think that this makes any sense. This is your audience. This is the people that you need.
Yeah, they're kicking out the people that played the games all these years out of the price range. But I've said this way before everybody else woke up from their coma. Okay? I've always said, make the problem, sell the solution, right? I saw what Xbox and Game Pass were doing years ago, and I said, they're going to make the problem, sell the solution. The higher the console prices go up, the more appealing that the streaming services look. It does. Just the same as when I was a kid, I couldn't afford every single video game that came out. I couldn't afford a $60 video game back then, or a $50 video game, or a $70 video game, right? Yard's Revenge on the Atari back in the day, my mom bought, and it was $82 back then. $85, year 1984, 85. She paid, I think, $80 for that game. Doesn't have graphics, doesn't have wide open world, doesn't have anything, right? So we couldn't afford all the games. So guess what we did? Right, 75, Sarge says. There you go. Thank you. Right? Right? We went to Blockbuster. We went to Albertsons to rent games. Right? We went to this place called Video Extron to rent games. And only then did we play a game. We would rent it again. We would rent it again. We'd play it 3-4 times, try to beat it, put it off. And then when we got jobs at the age of 13, 14, 15, mowing lawns, doing stuff, then you would pay and buy more games and get more things, right? But you couldn't afford all the stuff. You still went to Blockbuster. You still went to Video Extron. You still went to Hollywood Video to rent your games. You would borrow friends' games. You would actually make plans with other gamer friends. Hey, I'm buying this game. I'm buying this game. When you're done with that game, can I borrow that game? Sure can, buddy. Right? And then you swap games. For the people that come in here and say it's a rich man's hobby, get the fuck out of here.
And you're now making it harder and harder for these guys to be able to buy in at all. And, once you start pricing those people out, I don't see how this doesn't kill the console market in the next 5 years. PlayStation, especially, this is making even less sense. If their whole new strategy now is to keep their games off of PC, then shrinking your console audience is just...
It doesn't make sense yet. But as we bring up Glenn getting hit in the baseball bat in the head, right? We just don't see it yet. We don't know what the outcome is, what PlayStation's plans are down the road.
Going to destroy you. The only way that this makes any sense to me is if these guys have decided that they don't need ordinary people anymore, that wealthy households who now make up the majority of sales can carry the market, that these guys will just keep paying out no matter what, but that math doesn't math. Now, we already know that lower and middle income households are buying less and less hardware, and more of that burden is now falling onto richer households, which is a much smaller market to begin with. Households making over $100,000 a year now account for more than half of all of these purchases for all this gaming hardware, and the price increases that we're seeing is just going to push that threshold even higher, probably into the $150,000.
It's right. Most of those people get bored. They'll buy a game and go, how come no one's playing this? Oh, well, because they have more money than sense. So they'll just buy stuff because their friend told them to buy it, or it looks cool and they'll buy it, but they don't actually have time to play it, which companies don't really care at that point because they made their money. But then when it starts to slow down, they're like, well, how come that Kraken's not buying games anymore? How come they're not buying those microtransactions anymore? That's when people start to go, oh, wait a minute. And when I say people, I mean the corporations start going, wait a minute, how come our strategy's not working?
Or even $250,000 range when the rest of the economy keeps inflating. So now you're shrinking an audience from a little over 40% of the US households to 26, maybe even 16%. And the people below that just don't have any room to be able to close that gap anymore. Which brings me to something else, and maybe this is something that is just too hard for these guys to understand. Maybe they are just too ignorant to be able to get it. But the more expensive that hardware gets, the harder it is for players to enter, which means there are fewer people around to be able to buy games at all. And once that happens, these giant full production games that these guys are making.
Yeah, making $300 million games. Good luck to you. Good luck to you. Guess what you need? You need a shit ton of people to buy your game. Same with the movies. A $450 million movie, guess what? You need people to go see the movie, not one person to pay $1,000 for a ticket.
Starts making less and less sense. I want these companies to get better. I want these companies to shrink down, but I'm not hoping for all of these guys to die. But something like this does not give them a future. It strips one away. There's just not going to be anybody.
Man, I love competition, right? PlayStation's here until it's not. Xbox is here until it's not. Someone right now could be coming up with something, right? Look at Meta wasn't here years ago. Now it's here. It's in the market, right? Yes, not very successful, but it's the most successful VR headset. My point is, someone will create something to compete. If it's Steam with the Steam box, or if Amazon comes out with something, whatever. Someone will come into the market, and these people won't know what to do. And I say these people, I mean the PlayStations, the Xbox, Nintendos. They'll be like, we didn't adapt it fast enough, right? And they'll go buy. They'll go buy. Rome fell, right? All of these companies think they're Rome, but they don't realize that Rome fell, right? I will go support something else. Why? Because price. If something comes out and it's good value for the price, I'm going to go there. Why would I keep giving you more money for a shittier product? Why would I give you more money for minimal viable product when I know exactly what you're doing with your consoles, what you're doing with your games? Why would I do that? I don't need to do that. See, the problem is we have so many games. I have games. Games here. I got games here. I got plenty of games. I don't need to buy your new games. I don't need to buy your new systems.
Around to buy any of these games, and you're just going to choke out the hobby in a lot of cases. And if this is what's going to happen to the companies, imagine what's going to happen to the people that are already barely hanging on and using games as one of the very few things that they could still afford.
Right, to get away from your miserable lives every day. Life sucks, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna watch a movie. I'm gonna play a video game.
I really just do not see how any of this works out in the long term. You know, one of the reasons why...
Right, 99 problems in a game ain't one.
PC has been taking off over the past couple of years, getting bigger and bigger, is largely because people have been able to stretch older hardware a lot further than I think the industry thought that they would be able to. I just seen recently that over 50% of players on PC are still playing games at 1080p, which looks fantastic.
Hear that out. Listen to that for a second. We argue in this channel about 4K, 2K, 1080p, 120 frames, 200 frames, 60 frames, 30 frames. Listen to what he just said.
A lot further than I think the industry thought that they would be able to. I just seen recently that over 50% of players on PC are still playing games at 1080p, which looks fantastic, by the way. I can attest.
Yeah, that's exactly right, though. The point, though, Yellow, the point is that everyone thinks that everyone's on the top tier stuff. Everyone's doing that, right? Most people don't care. Not that they don't care, it's that they don't have the money to buy the bigger, better things. So they're okay at playing the thing they have.
Do this. I was playing on 1080p not even all that long ago. But most of these guys are not chasing the highest end hardware. They're just chasing something that's going to last as long as possible. And also, they're probably not playing a lot of these AAA games anyway, but console's an entirely different beast. These guys don't have a choice. They're going to get drugged forward whether they like it or not. The games start running like garbage, looking like garbage, or the console makers or the game makers just stop making games for them entirely. It's planned obsolescence, but it used to not be that bad because it was over a long period of time, and it was still a relatively inexpensive transition to be able to get into, a more exciting transition to be able to make. But no wonder PlayStation has been having such a hard time getting people off of the PS4. People can't afford it, even more so now. That's why that's why I'm struggling to understand what the broader strategy is here. Honestly, I don't even think there is one, because all this is doing is shrinking your console base, which is also then cutting off new buyers.
You know what's funny? I'm gonna make a food analogy here, but so my grandmother, God rest her soul, okay, when she used to make food, okay, from a poor household, you would buy the chicken, right? And you would make the chicken, cook the chicken, and then you would eat the chicken. And then the leftover piece of the chicken you would throw in. And a lot of you can, relate to this, right? You buy the chicken, right? You don't buy the most expensive chicken. You buy the chicken that you can afford. And then from that chicken, you're feeding your family. And then you're taking the leftovers of that and you put it into a soup. And then it's in a chicken soup, and then it's different things. And you're breaking it down and using every piece possible to get your best value and the most out of that thing. Okay? People that are rich don't have this. They don't know this. So when they do something, they eat the chicken, and then they leave everything else on the bone. And then they just throw it away, and then they just buy another chicken. They have leftovers, and they never eat them. Okay? Like, there's so many things that when everyone says it's a luxury, okay, they have no idea what people do to minimize their stuff so it lasts longer for them. So when a kid buys a video game when they were younger and they got it for their birthday and their mom or dad had to save up working 2 jobs, and you play that one video game, and then you play that video game for the last 7 months, 8 months, okay? That's what it is. People now, they're like, oh, no, yeah, we just buy it. They don't care. They just buy it. They buy the best thing. They tell you in your face, well, I'm playing at 4K, whatever. Cool. There's a lot of people still playing on lower-end tier gear of PCs, consoles, television sets, right? They don't know all this other stuff because they can't afford that stuff.
And by extension of that, it's crashing.
Right, bones to make broth.
Your hardware appeal, it's killing game sales, and it's just dragging the rest of the games industry down with it. These studios are effectively like stores in a mall, and the console is the mall, but the mall just locked the doors. Now, while I know a lot of people are going to hear this, and they're going to be like, yeah, whatever, okay, I'm just going to keep getting by. I'm going to coast by on the games that I already have or the hardware that I already have. That's true, but I think that it dodges out on a much larger issue, which is who these guys are locking out. Thinking about...
This is why I like open world games. This is why I purchase open world games, because I know I'm going to get my money's worth out of these things instead of buying an 8-hour, 10-hour, 15-hour game. Don't get me wrong, I like playing those types of games. But if they're all full price, I can't afford all that. I gotta pick and choose which games I want to pay full price for.
The new players, the new people, the young people, the students, the families that no longer can justify buying into this hobby anymore. I think we should probably talk about the people that they're locking out. I try to be a champion of fair pricing because honestly, it is just my biggest concern, not only as a content creator, but just as a person. I did not come from money, and no matter how much success I find or how old I get, I'm always going to be worried about how much something costs because it's just baked into my DNA at this point. Even more so with video games because they were so instrumental in keeping me out of trouble and helping me make friends and keeping me sane and most importantly, helping me save money. Like a lot of millennials,
It's amazing how people want to save money because that's the average person.
Graduated high school, immediately went to college for something that I was not cut out for, maxed out my credit cards, built up college debt, dropped out, and then found myself stuck working dead-end jobs, trying to survive, and just trying to figure out who the hell I even was. Years and years of living paycheck to paycheck, years of feeling stuck. And through all of that, the one thing that I always had was video games, the one affordable thing, the one thing that I could hold on to, the one escape that I had. And now I'm watching...
We all can relate to that, right?
Entire generations and entire households get locked out of it entirely. The first people getting hit by all this are low-income households,
which they don't care about you anymore. Those people built the entire industry up, but they don't care about you now.
Just exactly.
They've moved on. They found better, right? Yeah, you dated a girl, gave you a little bit of confidence, you throw her off to the side so you can get a number 5 and get rid of that 5 and upgrade to a 7. Never look back at the 5.
What is making this so disgusting to me. The people who need access to cheaper entertainment the most are the ones that are being cut off from it, especially depending on what kind of living conditions you grew up in. I got a bunch of friends of mine that would straight up tell you that if it wasn't for video games, they probably would have ended up on drugs or had a kid before they were 16.
I mean, I know people like that, and they still play video games.
That's not me being dramatic. That's just real life in this situation. Gen Z, Gen A, students, casual gamers, low-income households, all of these groups are just getting pushed further and further out of the...
Put this in perspective. We were like, not dirt poor, but my parents both worked 2 jobs each, okay? And we were one of maybe 2 families out of like 200 homes in the area that owned a Nintendo and an Atari and a Sega over the years, right? So all the neighborhood kids would come over. Can we come over and play? We'd have tournaments and things. Everybody knew where their kids were because they were at our house, unsupervised, playing video games.
The market, because either these guys just flat out don't have the money for this, or they can't justify spending that kind of money on something that they just don't have enough free time to be able to make worth it, especially at these prices. And man, that's just so sad to me because gaming has always had a relatively low barrier of entry. People like to shrug this entire thing off and pull the whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps routine or start parroting some TikTok life coach about how you should be spending all of your time making money. But people need joy in their lives or they start to lose their damn minds. Back when I was stuck working at a gas station, back when I had no money to go out, I couldn't go out to concerts or anything like that with my friends, and I felt like I was going nowhere, video games were still there for me. Instead of me blowing my money on drinking or some other dumb shit, I could buy 1 or 2 games a year, and I could stretch those games forever. Night after night, I'd be playing online hockey leagues with NHL, or I'd be talking shit in FPS lobbies with my friends, dumping what felt like hundreds of hours into an RPG, and honestly, if I didn't have that, I don't know where I would have ended up. I think what bothers me the most about all of this is that I already know where this all ends. I know exactly what their plan is.
We all do. We all do. Well, at least majority of us, I think, know.
Clear as day to see, they do not intend to leave these people behind. No, they intend to use them, to squeeze more money out of them than they ever could have through ownership. Middle and lower income.
That's because they care about you and they're your best friends.
Some households and players are just going to get pushed into one lane. Mobile, subscriptions, cloud gaming, maybe even leasing consoles like PlayStation has already floated in the past. All of it sold as access. All of it sold as convenience. All of it's going to be predatory as hell. This is a direct attack on the middle and lower class. It's a way to keep people exactly where they are, stuck in a cycle of smaller payments while owning absolutely nothing at all, paying way more in the long run because the price is broken up just enough to feel manageable while they're able to keep them on the hook forever.
Don't lease a fucking console, okay? Don't lease a console.
And the worst part is that this already works, which is exactly why these guys are going to keep doing it. Earlier, I showed a graphic breaking down where the paid audience is actually coming from, and what stood out to me is how obvious this divide really is. Hardcore players are making up the biggest share of the AAA audience, but the smallest share of free-to-play. Meanwhile, core and casual players, the groups that are far more tied to lower and middle income brackets, are making up the majority of the free-to-play audience. And then I saw something much more uglier start to creep in. A whole category that doesn't
card and casino 20% and 23%
register at all with hardcore players start showing up for everyone else. Cards and casino games, 5th most for core gamers and 3rd.
Well, of course, Saint. We've talked about that in the past. Why This is why we talk about minimal viable products, right? They want your retention. And look at Ubisoft. Ubisoft has Ubisoft Play, whatever their service thing is. Why do you think Ubisoft has all wide open games, open world games? Because they want you to pay as much as possible. And if you can't afford the $70 video game or $80 video game, you can afford the $18 monthly payment for Ubisoft Plus, okay? And you can constantly just play Ubisoft games, okay? But what you really should do is not rent $18 a month for a Ubisoft video game. You can go get yourself a PlayStation 4 for dirt cheap, right? Pick up a Ubisoft Assassin's Creed Valhalla, any other Assassin's Creed, and just play the shit out of that game. Never have to be online. You never have to do anything. It's just whatever. Just go play that game. Todd Howard said it the best. They were pissed. He didn't say pissed. He didn't use the word pissed. They saw that so many people played Skyrim to this day, and they couldn't monetize them. Could not monetize them, right? So they had to figure out, well, if you're going to play this game, then we're going to have to monetize you. So let's make a game as long as possible, okay? And let's put battle passes, season passes, all this other stuff in there because they want to keep you coming back. And if we keep making the price of the consoles, well, guess what? You can play Game Pass on your television set. If you own a computer already, you can play it on there too as well, right? You have it on your cell phone. You have it on your laptop. All of these companies are going to go the same way. Same exact way. They want the $18, $20, $25, $30 a month rather than buying the $80 a year because the hardcore people, let me go back here. He shows the chart again and shows how many people buy, right? They play 8.5 genres, 42 hours per week, okay? Where the casuals, they play 4
that are far more tied to lower and middle income brackets are making up the majority of the free-to-play audience. And then I saw something much more uglier start to creep in. A whole category that doesn't register at all with hardcore players start showing up for everyone else. Cards and casino games. 5th most for core gamers and 3rd most for casual gamers. So when these companies are trying to push out ownership out of reach, they're not just trying to change the way that people play. They are trying to train these people to
That's right. Train. Condition.
Operate within a worse ecosystem, more exploitative ones. The exact kind of ecosystems that are built to bleed the most vulnerable people dry. This is why I try to warn people. Luckily, there is a bright side to all of this. The more inaccessible, predatory, and disgusting that these people continue to make video games, well, the more they just...
Mind you, the hardcore, casual, was made by the non-gamers that came in, right? Because we're just gamers. I don't care if you play 3 minutes a day or if you play 300 minutes a day. I don't care, right? A gamer's a gamer. People that like to play video games, and that's what it is. The people that say, well, you're a hardcore or you're a casual, that's doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The market, though, they had to break it down. They had to figure out where it was, right? And people that are gamers, hardcore gamers, look at people that are playing casual mobile phone games like, oh, you're not a gamer. Because you really are not compared to what they are. They played games in the systems and growing up and stuff. Now you play a mobile phone game, and you're like, yeah, we're not the same. We're not the same people, right? You're paying microtransactions on your video game. You're playing those slot machine games. You're playing those we're not the same. We're not the same.
Just keep shoving players into the arms of somebody else. And in doing that, not only are they making their own problems worse, but they're also strengthening the very competition that is eating.
The gaming industry wants those people that sit there, play for 5 minutes, but they also paid $4 for a level up in a mobile phone game.
Their market share, competition that respects their time a lot more, competition that respects these players' freedom a lot more, and right now, that means indie games and Valve. It wasn't all that long ago that we were talking about the pricing crash on Steam, where AAA games were not only losing market share, but getting outsold by indie games, but also that the average price of games being sold on the platform had fell with it. The median price had dropped from around $20 to just over $14. And that matters because, well, it shows that there's still an enormous demand for games. People have not lost interest in gaming. They're just being forced to be a lot smarter with their money. And when given the choice between bloated, overpriced slop and cheaper, better, more focused games, well, more and more people are starting to choose the latter. And Valve, well, they're going to take that a step further. Valve updated its regional pricing tools to help developers automate their pricing based on local purchasing power, not just flat currency conversion.
Right.
And that's a huge difference. I don't think people really understand this because instead of just charging somebody what the equivalent of $20 USD is in another currency and then pretending like that's somehow fair, instead, this system is trying to reflect what $20 actually means inside that economy. In some places, $20 is not casual spending. It is a big chunk of somebody's week. So Valve is effectively making it easier for developers to price their games in a way that real people can actually afford.
Yeah, because if you have a game and no one's buying it, what are you doing? Make a game, sell a game. You have to make the game and then price the game accordingly. And what they'll do is, because they know the first week or whatever, imagine, right? I mean, look at anything else. The longer something stays out in the public to purchase, it gets cheaper and cheaper. The TV set that you have now when you first bought it, if you bought it when it first came out, is much cheaper now, right? A movie theater. The longer the theater the movie stays in the theater, it goes to $1 theater, and you can watch the same movie for $1. It's cheaper, right? For some reason, video games don't do that, right? Video games don't do that. They stay as far as possible. 4 years from now, pick up a game, first party title, still $60, $70 on Nintendo. Because they know their customers. They're like, nah, we have a good player base. We don't need anybody. If you want this game, well, you're going to have to pay for it.
Now, in combination with this, and honestly, the timing couldn't be any better, but we're probably about to see another wave of even stronger indie titles.
Right? And they use it like Randy Pitchford saying Borderlands, not going to get a deep discount for a really long time. 27 days later.
Because making them just got a hell of a lot more accessible and a hell of a lot more cheaper. Valve just signed a deal with the makers of Gary's Mod to build Sandbox, a version of Source 2 with simplified creation tools and features that are brought over from Unreal and Unity, while also still maintaining the kind of optimization and performance that Source is known for, making it easier to not only build great-looking games, but also games for lower-end hardware, which
well, you don't know what a story is, Roadkill, when you just keep hitting X to skip, or fast forward, not listening. I've watched so many streamers do that. They're like, they just pass, right? You can't pass it, you can't skip it, but you can fast forward it, right? They don't want to listen to it. People just don't want to be interested in stories, so they say the story's bad,
which is a pretty big deal. And
is it great? No, it's a good story though.
Even bigger deal though is that it's all royalty free. And Gary Newman, the maker of Gary's Mod and Sandbox, explained exactly why when he said, "Valve gave me a chance. I'm already rich. I don't want to fuck anyone over. I only want to give opportunities to the next generation like Valve did to me. We can all win together." Man, is that not a massive
That is a huge statement.
Contrast from the rest of the industry. So now you're not only making it easier for smaller developers to make games of their own, make better games of their own, make more games for more people, avoid royalties, release their games directly onto Steam, but you're also letting these guys keep more of their revenue and also cut down on the kind of overhead that is constantly being shoved straight onto customers. And I think this goes to show just how unnecessary all of this is. While some of the biggest companies in the industry are trying to find more ways to make gaming more expensive, more restrictive, and more predatory, somebody else is out there trying to make games easier to make, easier to distribute, easier to make money off of, and
yeah, I got a dog for a companion, Crimson Desert, but it's broke right now. It's not picking up stuff, so I think they have to fix that in the next patch.
Easier for people to actually afford. That's the split. You got one side that's building ladders.
What you could do to get it faster, drop meat on the ground. Fish for the cats, meat for the dogs.
And the other side is trying to build toll booths. At some point, we got to stop pretending like this is just some market or inflation or it's just bad luck. This is a choice. And if this industry keeps choosing to push normal people out of gaming, well, then they're definitely going to deserve what comes next. I remember this one time where I was uninsured, no savings, and I chipped a tooth. And for basically an entire month, I had to eat Tylenol like it was candy until I could save up money. And then I finally got the crown, and when I did, I still had to make payments on it. But the entire time that I was going through all of that, the one thing that I had was that I had a crippling addiction to playing EA NHL, where I was doing these online hockey leagues on a...
That's funny. Sarge said something like that earlier. NHL, hell yeah. We used to play the shit out of NHL back in the day.
Website where you get with a group and you guys play through like whole tournament brackets and stuff. And while it was the only game that I had time for while I was working that much, it saved me a lot of money and it also saved me a lot of pain. It got me through it. I'll never forget that. And that's why I take all of this so seriously. This is why I want people to have fair access to entertainment, because I know how important it is. And also, going through everything, I also know how predatory the world has become over the years. And I'm going to keep calling it out. I should keep calling it out. Anybody that has the opportunity should, every single chance they get. And, you know, when you're coming from low income, everything is chip damage. Everything is built against you. You know, I had to take a job where I worked across the country, working 14 to 16-hour days, 7 days a week, just to be able to crawl my way out over 4 years to find security. Then I stumbled into this job. Thank you, guys. You have no idea. Thank you, guys. But, you know, the entire time I just learned how everything is built against you. And here you now have these game companies that want to come in and they want to add another layer on top of that. No, don't let them do it. Walk away. Find something else. Find other games to support. Find other platforms to support. Figure out your hardware.
He's turning into a hockey player, Mr. Z.
Situation. Buy a PC. Buy a small PC, a tiny build. Don't need anything crazy, man. You know, even if it's an older gaming laptop, play indie games and do that instead. This is not going to work out for these guys. Abandoning the lower and middle class is essentially just going to dry up all of your earnings. If these guys actually think that
they're going for the mobile market type of stuff, where like Diablo Immortal, where a guy is paying $100,000 to play a video game instead of, you know, getting the mass of people just playing the video game.
They're actually going to be able to support everything using the upper class. It's not going to happen just because by their nature, the upper class typically does not spend that much time playing these kind of games or spending money on this kind of entertainment. They have other forms of entertainment that they spend money on. And you're just not going to get the same level of income or the same level of loyalty that you would normally see from people that are somewhere in the middle. These guys are just going to continue to lose money at an ever-increasing rate, and it's going to get to the point where it's just going to collapse these companies entirely. Maybe that's what has to happen. Maybe that's the only way for any of this to be able to fix is for some of these guys.
Yeah, Aaron, he's complaining, unlike you.
Just straight up go out of business, or to just have their stock cut in half, their staffs cut in half, and their presence cut in half, and then just lose to somebody else. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, share it on social media, follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. I always actually really like seeing you guys posting stuff on social media. I always get...
All right. Like, where the industry is going, it'll be very interesting to see. I still think they're going to push people to get into the live service stuff. They want the Game Pass, the PlayStation Now. They want more people to go towards that. Amazon Luna. The whole industry is working together, right? They all want, even Nintendo has moved to digital games. Okay, even though it's the little card that you can do, right? So it's constantly, the entire industry is trying to push you towards the subscription model the entire time. That's what's going to happen. That's what I've been saying for years. That's what's happening now. More people can see it now, because who's going to afford a $900,000 console? Not the average person, right? So you're going to see a big drop in consoles, even more than you did in the past almost 20 years. Sarge says, you guys are not prepared to sacrifice to save the gaming industry. We need to bankrupt these guys and start again. Plenty of devs in the world. Yeah, plenty of people making video games. Let's see. Roadkill says, yeah, if I was rich, I'd be traveling the world fishing nonstop. I don't know. I don't know if I would travel. I don't know if I would travel. I don't know if I would travel the world. I'd definitely do something different, though. Good luck getting people to adapt to that. The hardcore gamers won't do it, Shadow. But they're going for the other guys. They're going for the casuals, right? They're going for this group. Right? They're going for the casual core, the core gamers and the casual gamers. That's who they're going for. Right? They're trying to find the whales inside of here. The ones that have more money than time. That's who they're going for. August says most people globally can't afford a $900 US before tax and shipping consoles. Definitely a Sarge on that. We need to reset. Let the industry crash and hopefully, yeah, there's plenty of games. Like you can still support game companies and stuff, but you don't have to buy new. You don't have to buy new games. Plenty of games. There's so many games you probably didn't play on the last gen console of PlayStation 4 and Xbox One or the Nintendo Switch. Plenty of games out there for you to play. And if you're on PC, well, you don't have to change anything. You can just go play older games. Orcus says, I just want to see the new Lord of the Rings games coming up. I hope they go on fire. There's, who said, Kingdom Come Deliverance. I think Aku said Kingdom Come Deliverance guys are working on a Lord of the Rings game next. Windows says they're going to have a majority of which people never understand gamers thing. There's the biggest when it's never been true. Waterbear says 30. It sounds good, but the industry knows FOMO is real, so they play on that. Oh, 100%, 100%. Why do you think they highlight? They go, oh, this is the best deal. You could pay 70 or 80 or 120, but this right here for $18 a month, that's the best deal. The problem is gamers think they need the corpos to get good games. Nope. Especially now. Hell, you don't even need. There's so many people making video games on PC. You don't need an Xbox. You don't need a PlayStation. You don't need a Nintendo. Plenty of people making great games. Krebsy says video was 50-50. 50% bankrupt, 50% good. Thoughts on future. Let's see here. Windows says, thing is 30. If value was smart, they also could easily line themselves up for success. They just need to do the price right. Else, the dumb thing, they could also have this on a silver platter. Well, the value, these companies, all they have to do, I mean, I say it's easy said than done, but they have to stop making $300 million video games. They're not all Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto. When that game comes out, it's going to make all its money back, right? It's not the cyberpunks, right? We talked about it earlier in the stream, right? When we talked about like the ballerina, where it didn't make money, but John Wick made money. But John Wick made money because it started off small and then built itself up over the years. Well, they banked off ballerina being as big as John Wick, and they gave it a budget as big as the last John Wick when it didn't have any following of the actual thing. That's the problem with video game companies. The video game companies are making games, and they just think because they make the game, they're like, oh, well, we made this game, they're going to buy it. And that's not how it works, right? That's not how it works. So they're like, oh, yeah, we'll spend $300 million making this video game, and they put it out, and then it doesn't make the money back, and then they start yelling at you. Well, yeah, we make or break you. You make a product, we buy the product. If your product is not good, then we're not going to buy the product. So now what they're trying to do is they're trying to get enough nitwits out there, that people that don't pay attention, they're just blinded by everything. They're just like, they're a consumer, not a customer, okay? And when they consume, they're like, is there enough people out there that just consume so they'll pay top tier? Because if it's a high price, that means it must be a good product, right? That's the way they look at it. High price equals good product. Arbiter says the ballerina was a good movie. They should have started off with a smaller budget. That's what I'm saying, Water. I just watched this past week, and you weren't here earlier in the stream. I thought it was a great movie, but it didn't make money because the budget was $90 million. They gave John Wick's first movie was $20 million. They gave her, right, in her movie that nobody knows, $90 million. They should have treated her just like John Wick with the first one at $20 million, $30 million. But game companies, movie studios, they're like, we have this IP, we're going to break it off. We have this game, we have this, we're going to put it out there. It's going to sell like hotcakes, and it doesn't sell. right? They try to sell you like Highguard did, right? From the makers of Titanfall, from the makers of Apex Legends. And then Highguard comes out, you're like, okay, well, we don't like it. Well, why don't you guys like it? Well, we don't like it. It's not a good game. And they spent way so much money when they got an investment and they went bankrupt. Let's see. Yeah, the Pro's not worth 900. I don't think any system console's worth that much. It wasn't worth that much when other companies tried to do that back in the day. The Atari Jaguar was like $600, $700 back in the day. Everyone's like, oh, it's such a good console. Yeah, until it wasn't. And then no one made any video games for it. Now it's just it's a collector's item. We're still on this $4,000 PC thing. What world do they live in? Like, what world do they live in? All right. What else we got going on the web? Anything else that's not fake news over on April Fool's Day here on YouTube? Or I should say on Twitter? Let's see. Review Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Okay. Is there already a Season 2 out? I didn't even know the second season started. Gray Zone. Oh, did you guys see the post that Kit Kat did? Kit Kat, I think you guys posted it in Discord. I thought it was pretty funny. I think Waterbear posted it in Discord. Yeah, the official statement. Kit Kat posted, right? Well, Crimson Desert posted. Hernan Country official statement. We can confirm that Gray Mains had nothing to do with the Crimson Desert. Thank you. Kit Kat official statement. We can confirm that the 12T of Kit Kat produces were stolen while in transit between factory and central Italy. So Kit Kat got robbed or whatever, right? And they're like, the Crimson Desert comes out and says the official statement. We can confirm it wasn't the Gray Mains. That's good marketing right there. It's good marketing. Mo says, you're a grandfather, Mo? Grandfather of 3, and I had one of my grandbabies were named after me. Nice, dude. Congrats. I didn't know you were a grandfather already. Look at you. The kid's name is Big Mad Mo. Yeah, they named her Big Mad Mo. Wouldn't that be funny? I swear to God, Mo, if I ever meet you in real life, and you're like, this is my grandson, Big Mad Mo, I'd be like, wait a minute. Waterbear says, I had to go steal some gold bars from the beginning of the game to expand to level 4. Just put your guys on just do the Gray Mane missions. You get enough Gray Manes, you can send them on missions, and then you'll be fine. I'm like, they make their own money there to do the expansion. No, I'm just messing with you, Mo. It would be hilarious, though. It would be hilarious. me see what else is going on. What time is it? 12:30. Oh, I watched the new Supergirl trailer. Not a fan. Not a fan. It didn't do anything for me. Didn't get me excited. Oh, nice, Eclipse. Congratulations on that. We won't do any, we'll wait for you to become an official uncle. We'll wait for the birth. Yeah, I saw Lobo. We'll see. Yeah, you mean Guardians 6? Yeah, but it's not directed by James Gunn. So making that statement saying that it's the next Guardians film, he didn't direct it. He just produced it, right? So the director's a completely different director, but it does have that feeling of it, though. It does. I will admit to you, Shadow. It does feel like a Guardians movie. Yeah, but it's not. He's not directing it, though. So when you say he's a one-trick pony, he's not directing it. You became an uncle last year? Nice, Dupless. Unless he edited the trailer, it sure feels like... what trailer are you talking about, Z? Unless he edited the trailer. Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy. It sure feels like Guardians of the Galaxy. Unless he edited... I don't know if he edited it. I don't know what he did behind the scenes. I was like, GOGT. I don't know if he had anything to do with besides producing it. I don't know if he... But it does feel like Guardians of the Galaxy. The story that is also basically this is on very, very good. It's also a little True Grit, so it could be a very good movie if they stick to the landing. Do you think it does better than the other Superman? Supergirl's never done better than Superman anything. That's just the popularity of her. So I don't know if it makes good money at the box office or more money. Maybe it makes around the same, $600 million. Mr. Z says, I'm sure he was standing right behind. He's like, what about if you think about this picture over here and you put it over here? Be like, I don't know, James. I feel like it feels like, yeah, Guardians made good money. Guardians made good money. Maybe you should do that. Look, you're the director. You do what you want. I'm just the producer. I just pay your bill. Don't worry about it. You just do what you need to do, right? Krebsy's throwing hanger rays. He's like, hot take, Guardians 2, overrated. I think the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy is good. It's good. The first one's great. I love the first one. Yeah. Shadow says the only good Guardians was the first one. Yeah, the first one's great. I agree. The only one was the first one, and then the third one had some good moments. Yeah. The first one's really good, though. You know why the first one was good? Because we had no expectations. Then we had a big expectations. The other ones, and they just didn't land. Grace will love Supergirl. That's right. Yeah, I'm sure she will. She's like, I don't really like Supergirl. She's too good. It's like, what are you talking about, Grace? Stop it. I like 3, but I hate what they did with Adam Warlock. Yeah, they would you say they beta-fied him? They didn't beta-fy him as much as they did for Hulk, but I think they beta-fied him. for sure. Let me see what's happening. Anything else happening over on Twitter? Yeah, they did beta Holcomb. Yeah, 100%. Is that true, Krebsy? I feel like that's I feel like that statement's like remember when the last Batman movie with Christian Bale came out and he was only Batman for the entire time in the movie? I think it was like 5 minutes, 6 minutes or something like that. The entire film. It was a Batman film with him being Batman for a total of like, I think it was like 6 or 7 minutes. Aku says 30. The Division of Resurgence is out, and its gameplay is actually decent. Makes me think DUV1. Do I have to download it again? Is it worth it? I'm going to stay in Pywell. Jesse Max says 30. It's not an April Fool's joke. Amazon paused on production because of Sophie Turner's suffer injuries at the. Yeah, that happened yesterday. Yeah, I saw that. It was a minor injury. That happens a lot on movie sets when they try to do their own stunts and stuff. They get injured. I saw that. That's why they have stunt coordinators and stuff like that. Sometimes when you put the actor in there to make it seem more, realistic or more immersion. Waterbear says, I believe the director for Homecoming single-handedly made the movie The GOAT with one shot. The shot of him jumping off the building and then showing him inside his suit is goated. Windows says the easy setup on PC is called Moo Player. Everything sets up very easily to play Division Resurgence. Okay? Yeah, see, I'm looking at stuff on Twitter, and I just don't know. Is this real? Please be real. They made this for... So Elgato made a slot... I don't know if this is real. Little slot machine pull. That's funny. That's my problem. I'm like, is this real? I guess it is. Let me see the lever. I would never buy it. Steam Deck plus lever. That's funny. Oh, they're making it a slot machine. That's bad. That's bad. What else we got going on here? Anything else? I don't think so. All right. We're going to leave it at that. We will be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, over on 30 and Still Gaming. We'll be playing some games with Sarge, shooting the shit with Sarge tonight. Don't know what we're playing yet, but we will be playing a game. Make sure you come on by, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button here, hit the subscribe button here. If you like what we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern, a little after. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock a.m., and then we'll also be back tomorrow evening for the Generation X Gaming Podcast. It's on this channel as well on 30 NSG at 8 p.m. Eastern. Appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day, afternoon, or evening, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.
They said it was the best deal in gaming. but the price kept climbing. Locked inside a system, all the fun was declining. Pay to connect, even solo feels like a test. Greed in the code, yeah, it never ends. Subscription chains holding me tight. All the value promised gone overnight. We played by the rules, they laughed as I bled. Greed's a disease, planting seeds instead. This generation will be remembered for greed. All I wanted was fairness, instead I got the feed. Remember for greed, we only got the feed. Console prices rise and trust runs dry. Studios vanish, but they still reach sky. Pain in floods while the fun slips away. Dreams sold in pieces, left in shades of gray. It's every update, promised a shiny new hope. Buried in fine print, they tightened the rope. We played, they profited. It's an old dirty game, generation of greed. Remember the name, all the value promised is now all fake. Loyalty used, how much more can I take? Greed in the system, no one escapes. Players rise up, time to reshape. This generation will be remembered for greed. All I wanted was fairness, instead I got the fee. Remembered for greed, we only got the fee. Yeah. Greed in the code built into the plan. Microfiche ripped right from our hands. We loved our games, they love the cash now. Loyalty burns.